All right, thank you. We are back with some Traveler. So much going on in the Traveler universe with you guys. I don't even know where to start. It's crazy. So last time, you guys completed the battle of the at the shuttle platform on Tewfik, and learned a great deal of interesting information after that battle from the guys you captured. So right now, you guys are still on that platform. You have not left that thing. So I'm going to go ahead and switch this over for right now to landing pad. All right. And basically, you guys are sort of still here. The battle ended in a couple of ways. You've got two captives. One, the Ursay sort of commander of this operation, and another, a human dressed largely as a sand person from the Star Wars universe. You also have technically a third captive in the form of Becky, who was grievously injured and who Dr. Wagner has basically declared that he's bringing back to the Gin Tonic to repair. Now, a lot of you, considering the vivisection that he performed on the dead Kazinti, some of you are suspicious that, and you've heard him mentioning sort of out loud to himself that the Kazinti's lower quarters are in fine fettle and relatively undamaged, even from the fall that he took off of the wing of the shuttle.
And parts is parts.
Yeah, and so your suspicions lie in the idea that he may be keeping Becky to replace her limbs or damaged torso and limbs with some Kazinti parts. So we'll have to see how that works out. But Dr. Wagner has been packing her and the various pieces of the dead Kazinti into the no, I'm good. Into the slice line. The rest of you have been interrogating the Ursay with the help of about 20 Tewfikers who showed up to lend a hand. You guys have been interrogating the two captives. And basically, what you guys have learned is essentially that once it became clear that Keeve Smitchy was not going to deliver you over to Captain Lamonte at the Penny Dreadful at the appropriate times, the Penny Dreadful flew to Cymbeline, got as much information as they could to figure out where you guys were going, and subsequently alerted Kick Bandiers and the rest of the Ursay that their plan had not gone the way it was supposed to. Subsequently, Kick Bandiers commissioned several ships. The guys that you captured are not really sure how many, but basically dispatched ships to various sectors, various star systems to look for you guys. Nobody knew really where you had jumped off to because you left in something of a rush from Cymbeline. But nobody really knew where you guys were headed. But there were some likely targets, and they know that you guys that the Gin Tonic is a jump 3 ship. So there's a limited number of star systems that would be available. They also, however, admitted that the Penny Dreadful itself is on its way to Mirabilis system, the home of the Spofulam Corporation, which the Ursay are well aware of that you guys work for, and they are assuming that you guys are on your way there, which would be 4 jumps from Cymbeline. Chuck, you got a question?
No, I'm trying to breathe.
Oh, look like a guy with a question. Okay, sorry.
Go forth.
So the guy admitted that Lamonte and the Penny Dreadful are on their way to Mirabilis to see if you guys are there, because that's where they suspect you are. There were a half dozen, maybe 8 other ships, mercenary crews, commissioned by the Ursay, by Kick Bandiers, paid off, and basically staffed with a few loose Ursay to go and see if they could find you guys, if there was maybe on the off chance that you had gone somewhere else. And they admitted that when they came into Tewfik system being being agricultural, relatively non-technological. They felt it was unlikely that they were going to be here, but they were doing their jobs. They're getting paid, so they came down to the platform, and they were waiting for a 24-hour period, and to see if you guys showed up, and then they were going to go back and figure out what to do next. That 24-hour period hasn't elapsed yet. Kick
So they were
Bandiers
surprised and happy to see us because they were expecting a big payday.
Well, yeah, they're sort of expecting a big payday, but they never expected you guys to actually be here. No one really figured. So here's the thing. No one really knows, except for Sergey, about your relationship with Tewfik, right? They
Okay.
didn't know that you'd been here for a couple of weeks. They didn't know that you guys had, made contacts here, that you guys were, had done the planet a pretty significant favor, in wrecking the cordyceps outbreak. So, nobody knew about that because it was all sub rosa, right? This was all smuggling and stuff. And so nobody really knew, and so they didn't expect. It's just a system that was within a jump range, so they were checking it, right? Kick Bandiers, on the other hand, is headed for Greenpernt, and one assumes post after that he's headed for Kukulkan, which is the home system of the Ursay. That said, you were tipped off by Bob Scaramouche, or Bill Scaramouche, I'm sorry, that a fleet of 5 Ursay ships, including at least 2 and probably 3 warships, were coming to Greenpernt and would arrive at Greenpernt a couple of days before Kick Bandiers. If you guys did your math right, Kick Bandiers would be able to get to Greenpernt. So one assumes that Kick Bandiers is linking up with whoever's in command of this Ursay fleet. Nobody really knows what's going on with these guys. Ursay warships are not common at Greenpernt, even though Ursay traffic is. Remember that Greenpernt is realistically the closest Terran aligned system to Kukulkan. Kukulkan is sort of out in the boonies from a star system standpoint. They've actually, here, I'll show you, just give you a quick heads up of what that looks like. Kukulkan, can you guys see this?
See the map.
All right, so Kukulkan is way down here, and sort of out of the way. Here, I can do this. This will work. In case you guys can see. Can you see it now?
Yep.
Yes.
Okay. So Greenpernt is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 parsecs away, which is quite a distance. It's 2 full weeks of travel under Jump 3, and Jump 3 ships are relatively common, but not everybody has them, right? So it's more like a 3-week trip from Kukulkan to Greenpernt. So much so that they've actually built the Ursay have actually put, you see these 4 or 3 yellow parsecs. Those are indicative that those parsecs contain what is essentially a beacon and a fueling station that low jump ships can use to refuel with jump fuel, so that they can make the rest of the way, themselves the rest of the way to Kukulkan, without having to refuel in deep space, or without. It's a fuel depot, apparently.
Fuel depot,
yeah. So
gas station.
Right, and you guys are at Tewfik, which is 3 jumps, 3 weeks. So assume jump is week, right? It's 3 weeks away. Now, again, you guys are not necessarily, while you have friends there, you guys are not necessarily welcome in Greenpernt right now, and certainly it's being, it's going to flood with Ursay before you guys get there. Now, according to what you guys have learned, the Ursay are well aware of you guys, but what they think is that you guys are corporate spies. Essentially, what they suspect is that the Spofulum Corporation got onto the idea that the Ursay were conducting these jump space experiments, and that they were making headway, and that they've commissioned you guys as corporate spies to find out what you can find out, bring that information back to Spofulum, and steal what you could steal. As you can imagine, these jump space secrets are very highly prized by the Ursay. They see this as their way of, frankly, lofting themselves into a position amongst the sentient races that they feel they should have. Okay. So, but if they can make that work, that's a pretty big deal. And they basically think you guys are corporate spies. And that's kind of where you are. We're still on the thing. You've got you've got about another 14 to 15 hours before the ship, which is still in orbit, around, or not in orbit. It's actually quite a distance away from orbit. You guys are in orbit, and if I recall correctly, Bishop is and Captain Black are keeping the ship on the opposite side of the planet from where the other ship is. So as the planet rotates underneath you, you guys are holding off and keeping the sort of like at perihelion, so on opposite sides. Imagine my head is a planet. Here's the Gin and Tonic, and here is the Ursay mercenary ship, and the planet is rotating underneath. But you're keeping that in. That said, Jin still estimates that the likelihood is that ship will detect you guys, if it hasn't already, before that 24 hours is out.
Right.
Just from the fact that you can't keep a fusion drive signature secret for very long. And sort of that's where we start. I mean, you guys are still on the thing. You guys are still on the platform. The the local Tewfikers are only too happy to punch out Ursays and guys on your behalf, which they have basically done.
Yes.
But it comes down to like what is your next move? I mean, I wanted to mention Matt texted me. He's feeling under the weather tonight. He's not going to be able to make it tonight. So Jix is out. But it comes down to, all right, so what? I mean, you guys are still on the platform. So Captain Black and Bishop Hawk are in the Gin and Tonic. The rest of you are down on the platform. Dr. Wagner is loading the wounded into the slice of lime. You guys have been interrogating the mercenary and the Ursay to find out what the dealio is. What's your next move?
Staying on Tewfik is not an option, because there will be some sort of report saying we are here.
It seems likely, although we don't know if they were able to communicate back with their ship.
You do know this. Okay. The communications arrays on these shuttles is not powerful enough to reach them from here. So they wouldn't have been able to call in.
Even if they haven't told them yet, the lack of communication will be a sign also.
And the piles of dead bodies.
If they
don't report in 24 hours.
Yeah.
Right.
From when they started this mission.
Right.
If nothing comes back, they'll know there's a problem.
So we can't stay here. Okay.
We actually have several hours, I think, before they have to go back. Their 24-hour period started when they came here looking for us, right?
I will agree. We're probably okay for several hours.
Yeah,
you got about be here for 24.
By your estimates and by the based on the periods that you've seen, I mean, you guys saw the shuttles come out of the ship and land on the planet through your own scans. So yeah, right. You've got about probably 13 or 14 hours before you can, if what they're telling you is true, you got about 13, 14 hours before the mothership will legitimately be expecting to see the shuttles.
So
what I'm going to start doing, you guys can do whatever. I'm going to start repairing this engine on the slice of lime.
Okay.
Best I can here.
Good idea.
Further repairs will be done once we get back to the ship.
Okay.
Questions. Who are they? I mean, who laid a trap for us here?
It's always the Ursay.
Yeah,
it's the Ursay.
The Ursay with hired bounty hunters.
Okay. So we know for sure the Ursay hired these bounty hunters.
Yep, absolutely.
Right.
In fact, there is an Ursay here on the ground with you. It's one of your captains.
Of course. All right. Well, I wonder if we should somehow get their shuttle back to them, but maybe with some extra stuff aboard. I don't know.
Like explosives?
Explosives?
Maybe. Or
armed men?
I'm not really ready to take on a whole cruiser of Ursay.
Well, you asked them how many people were up. They said there's a couple of more Ursay, a couple of more crew.
That's right.
You're saying that there's between 6 and 8. Your guess is, I mean, they were a little bit evasive in between punches, but you're guessing that between 6 and 8 people are still on the ship. Mostly crew.
And if
The
we
Ursay
rig,
did admit there were 2 other Ursays on the ship, but no other Kazintis.
and if we rig these little landing ships
Mhm.
effectively as IEDs and
Mhm.
sent them back up to the mothership, then we could conceivably take that ship out,
Yes.
and there would be no witnesses one way or the other.
Conceivably, yeah. Or you could then, the Gin Tonic is an armed freighter. So conceivably, you could attack it in space.
Well, it doesn't know we're here at this point. And
Correct.
if we attack it and it sees we're here, the first response would be to radio that they found us.
Right.
Whereas if they don't think they have, and they think they're just getting back their shuttles like normal to come back and report, there ain't nothing there but people live in the podunks. And then the shuttles blow up and take the ship out. They don't have time to radio anyone.
True.
They
Depending on
just,
how much explosives you can get it.
Yeah.
I mean, how hard you can. Yeah, I mean, theoretically, yeah. I probably would it probably do, depending on the size of the freighter, it probably wouldn't blow up the ship in the sense that, in the Star
But
Wars
heavily
sense.
damage it.
Well,
Right.
what would it do is it probably would probably would vent the atmosphere into space. You'd have explosive decompression, which means the ship would be damaged and all the people would be quite dead.
right. But that would still go along with they didn't have time to send a
Right.
message out that they had found anything.
Yep.
And as far as the people who sent out all these groups to look for us is concerned, they sent this one out to Tewfik and they haven't heard back from him.
And that's all.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's all they would know.
Right.
But they also know that Tewfik is kind of a non-technological planet.
Yeah.
So
It's-
anything could have happened that they wouldn't be able to radio out.
Or they could just be lazy.
That too.
Yeah, remember these are all newly hired dudes.
Right.
Right. So
Does-
Les, what do I need to roll for my repair? I'm trained in repairing.
Okay, so you're trained in repairing, you're trained in computers. So a grenade went off in there, correct? Or was it a bullet?
It was a grenade.
A grenade went off
Grenade
in
in there.
Yeah, so there is some cowling damage. There is some things. I'm going to say it's a DC 25 to get it perfect, where it's like essentially you don't have to do any further repairs. It'll be space worthy on a DC 20.
Okay.
So you got training, which would for repairs. So that takes off 3 right there. So it's 1722.
It's 17.
This is an intellect challenge, which I do not think you have edge in.
I do not have edge.
Okay, so
But I currently have a pool of 10, and I'm willing to use all but 1.
I have you as a pool of 12.
I've used 2 of them right now.
Have you? Okay,
So I've got
okay.
12 left, 10 left.
Okay. All right. So the first 6 points gets you 5 back, right?
Yes.
No. Yes, you pay 6 and get 5. So if you pay 6 down to 4, and then wait a second, I'm getting this wrong. Hold on, I'm checking the words.
I thought the first one gave me 3, but then it's 1 for each one after that.
It's 2 for each one.
2 for each one.
All right, modifying the difficulty. Okay, hold on. Okay. All right, skills, effort. Here we go. All right. All right, it costs 3 points from the stat pool to apply 1 level of effort. It costs 3 points from this, and it costs 2 additional points for every level thereafter. So, and levels are 3. So you pay 5, you get 6.
6. Yeah. Okay.
And then you get 3 for every 2. So the first 5. So you got 10. Sec. There we go. Well, by the way, you'll be pleased to know, Don, that I now have a portrait monitor as opposed to 2 landscapes. I followed your lead on that.
You liking it?
Good. I am. I gotta say, I am. All right. So yeah. So if you take your 10 down to 5, you're going to get 6 points off of that, which brings it to an 11-16.
11.
But that brings you down to 5 points of intellect left.
So I got a 50-50 chance.
Yeah.
Can I use 4 more intellect?
And bring your intellect down to 1.
Yes.
Wow.
All right.
I'm gonna wipe myself out. I am just gonna nap after this, but I want to get this.
All right. 4 will get
done.
you. 4 will get you 6 points. I think. Yeah. If every 2 you get another level of effort, so another 6. So 4 will get you 6. That
Do
brings
I
you
have
down.
any way?
3 will give
Do
me
I-
6. Actually, I
Do I
need
have
1.
any way to remotely help him?
This is physical damage to the engine.
Yeah, it's physical damage. Yeah, it's not a computer problem.
But
Well-
we can't do an assist.
I'm a mechanic too, so I have machine interface and tinker.
So if I show you a camera and you can help me, I guess, just by
You could use a
watching
drone cam.
everything.
Yeah, you could do that.
That's what I mean. So, or if he's tinkering with it, I could interface remotely with the engine.
Well, I'll have the engine offline though.
Okay.
You-
I don't know. I'm just saying, is there any way that I can help him?
I think you could help with the remote cam and just another set of eyes and helping and just talking back and forth, talking through it. I think you should be able to aid me a little bit.
Yeah, I don't know how that works in this game system though.
What do you guys see in the recording?
What recording?
The
And
one
we
on your
see-
screen is the landing pad and
We see the landing pad. Yeah.
Okay, good. All right,
and
cool.
the slice of line.
All right, so yeah, that'll take it down. So if you burn all the rest of that, leave yourself with 1 pool intellect, that will take it down to a 5 and a 10. So a 5
5.
to get it space worthy, 10 to get it perfect. And if Bishop helps you by a drone cam, he can give an assistance, and that'll give you, I don't know, another level of effort. But Bishop would have to
So
make a roll.
3?
Yeah, it would take it down to 2 in this case.
2?
But a Bishop has to roll it first. He has to be able to effectively assist you.
And what
Okay,
do I
Bishop,
need-
roll.
What do I need to do to do that?
To make that successful, you can. So it's a DC 10 to aid. You are trained in machines
Repairs.
using repairing, so that brings it down to a 7. This would be also an intellect check. You have edge in that, so you can burn that edge. That takes it down to a 4 or better without any points.
Yeah. And then tinker in case he's having to sort of
Tinker.
jury rig stuff.
Let me read that. Make a device do something different than its original purpose. Blaster becomes a bomb. Yeah, I don't know that would be applicable here. He's trying to actually just fix the thing.
Make it what it's supposed to do.
What it's supposed to do. Yeah, that'll be helpful if you guys are going to make shuttle bombs out of those things. That's where your tinker would come in.
Oh, that
Okay.
would help. Yes.
So that's a 4.
A 4 or better
Yeah.
to aid. Yep, on a D20.
Nope.
Oh no! So we're still at 5 and 10. Bishop
I
made
made
it.
7,
All right. So it will. So it is still damaged, but it will.
but it's much better.
It will definitely fly. Yeah, it is space worthy.
And then once I get back up to the GNT tomorrow, I will work on it more.
Ooh, gave myself a little surprise there. I forgot to put the tonic in my gin and tonic.
How's your gin?
But it's not bad. So I told Don I'm pre-mixing my martinis now. Pre-mixed martinis.
Ooh.
So are we gonna?
It really is a holiday or a festive time for everybody.
So are we going to do something with this shuttle? I mean, I don't know that we have any high explosives on the gin and tonic.
Well, that's where Bishop comes in.
Tewfik's got a lot of fertilizer.
True.
They do well, and also as Chuck mentioned, he's got a talent called Tinker, and he for a cost, he says you make a device do something different from its original purpose.
Mhm.
For example, and this is the example they use in the text: a blaster becomes a bomb, a scanner becomes a signal booster for a radio transmitter. The effective level of the modified device is one lower than normal, and the device is rendered unusable until repaired. So.
We use all the blasters from these dead guys.
Well, I mean, maybe so shuttles have engines, right? They have basically tiny fusion reactors that they use to generate graviton fields. Bishop is dangerous in that regard because he has other things that allow him to sort of make things do what he wants them to from a technological stance. So depending on his roles, yeah, he could turn these shuttles into bombs.
Yeah.
Now, does Bishop need to be down here to do that, or can he do it remote?
He'd have to be hands-on.
Right, I'd have to be down there. But yeah, you can, it seems to me with that skill, you could modify the existing fusion engines to be bombs themselves.
Okay.
Yeah.
As soon as I'm done with repairs to the slice of lime, I'm taking it up, letting him fly it back down. I'm going to bed.
Okay. All right. So you're gonna.
I got one intellect left.
So you could do some quick.
I can pilot stuff. I can still do that. But...
Oh yeah, absolutely. And you could get back. So the way you get back those points is recovery essentially. The first, and it's D6 per recovery period. The recovery periods extend, right? So the first recovery period is one action, and you can roll D6 and get those points back in one action. The next one is 10 minutes. The next one is 1 hour, and then the next one is 10 hours. So, the more times you use it, the longer the period gets.
Okay.
Cool. All right.
And
so
how long does it take to get this slice of lime back to the ship?
About 4 hours.
So if you rode on it, basically, well, even if you didn't, in the time it came back and I got on it and it came back to the surface, that would be 8 hours. So
that should be okay. Yeah.
You could get 3d6 of recovery and be 2 hours from being able to get another d6 and reset the recovery chart.
Yep.
Yeah. If you still, so the rule is,
3 rolls should be okay anyway.
Yeah. When you do recovery, if you haven't got all your points back after you get to 10 hours, it's every 10 hours you get another roll. It doesn't reset the chart where you start back to one action.
Right, but he should be back to full by then.
But I should be back to full by then.
Oh yeah, depending on how bad his rolls are.
I'd have to roll bad.
If you roll super crappy, you're kind of stuck. But
all right, so here's the thing, though. So you could certainly do that now. Wagner, Dr. Wagner, do you want to bring your patients up to? So I'm assuming you want to bring them to the Gin and Tonic, Becky and the Kazinti pieces.
Yeah, I can't do effective surgery down here.
Correct. Okay. All right. So you're going up with the ship, as is Becky and the various portions. Jix is in here. Who else is on the ground? Mallory is here. Is everyone go? If everyone's going up to the ship, what are you guys going to do with your prisoners?
Drug them with scotch that our friends will.
I mean, are you going to take them with you?
Or leave them with the Tewfikians.
Well, they'll tell you that they're happy to hold them for a little while, but they can't keep them.
Not alive, anyway.
Well, no, and they don't. Remember that in addition to being agricultural, this place is fairly religious.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're not gonna.
We just saved them from beating them to death, though.
Well, that doesn't. Well, they're not beating them to death. That's the thing about Tewfikians. They don't beat people to death. They have a lot of fun beating people, beating each other up and beating up other people. But it's not murder. You're right. They're like It's
Just horrible maiming. Okay.
No,
Just a
it's more
good
like the
sound
aftermath of a
thrashing.
yeah, it's a sound thrashing. They're not interested, and honestly, it would be unlikely for them to say, all right, well, these guys helped our planet, so we'll go ahead and murder these off-worlders.
No, they're not doing that.
That's probably not going to happen. And you don't want to put yourself in a position for asking them to commission. I mean, they like you. If you start asking them to murder people on your behalf,
Oh,
that
sure.
may not
you
go.
don't like us that much. Okay.
So there's a limit to the Tewfikian love, and that limit is murder.
It's just a good
Okay,
fun bar,
understood.
a good fun Irish bar fight.
Yep.
Where by the afterwards, everybody's hugging each other and having another drink.
Well, keep in mind that on Tewfik, well, one, there's not very much population here. I think when we say the population of the entire planet is like 8,000 people, and pretty much they all know each other. Second, there's no prisons on Tewfik, right? Criminals are dealt with, people who engage in
Meetings.
yeah, well, essentially, yeah. I mean, they're dealt with physically and immediately. And so it's, there's not, I mean, technically they have a cast of sub elders, which could be considered something akin to a sheriff's department, but largely these guys are the best wrestlers.
And any type of ostracizing is just
Well, right.
awful.
Yeah.
Can't we just take the most important looking one and leave the rest behind?
So that you've got two, a human and an Ursay are the captives. Now you could take them with you, you could leave them here, but eventually you're going to have to do something with them. Now the Tewfikers are going.
Take them with us on the shuttle.
The Tewfikers are certainly okay with the idea of like, look, those other people that you guys killed, that's self-defense, man, and perfectly legitimate, and that's outworlder shit. We get that, but to just execute these guys in front of 20 Tewfikers, that would be bad.
Right.
So if you're going to space them, wait till you get to orbit.
Don't
Right, so
say that here, though.
Yeah, exactly. Ixnay
Yeah,
on
we
the
send them
ace,
to
orbit to
ace
space them.
spades.
Bring them on the GNT then, yeah.
All right, on the
We're
slice.
going to put them on a
all
slice of lime, take them up to the GNT, patch them up.
right, everybody piles into the G&T, patch them up. All right, you're leaving the things down here. So basically, you're going up to the ship. Takes about 4 hours to shuttle up there. During that time, Jin reaches out to Bishop and the captain and basically says, gentlemen, I apologize, but I am suspicious that our
Ruse.
our stealth mode has been sussed. I'm receiving evidence that we are being scanned, and I suspect it's the other ship. It has to be the other ship. There's no other ships in system. So I suspect that they are now aware that we are here. This is about an hour before the slice gets to the Gin and Tonic.
All right, as soon as the slice is there, we're going into battle stations.
Okay. So Jin keeps you updated with periodic updates about what the other ship is doing. The other ship hasn't done anything. It's essentially dead in space, and sitting there sort of, a couple of astronomical units away from Tewfik, where it has been. The reason that Jin thinks that you guys have been sussed is it's because it's general. So there's a variety of different types of scanning that ships will do. When they enter a system, it's general broadband scanning as anybody here, right? In this case, Jin is beginning to receive from the other side of the planet. You guys are still have a planet in between you, right? So, but it's beginning to it's beginning to detect more tight band, detail-oriented scans that are pointed directly at you, and are using the other ship's AI is bouncing these scanning beams off of Tewfik's atmosphere to sort of curve them around the planet. It's using Tewfik's gravity well to sort of see behind the corner, and so that tells this significant change tells me that they've probably picked us up some sort of fusion signature on their passive scanning, and they've gone to active, and now they're using gravity waves to bend those around the planet to see you guys. So your guess is that they've seen, but they haven't done anything yet.
Well, yeah, they're not going to not do anything though.
Right.
It's not like they're going to say, "Oh, cool, we found them. Oh well, let's just watch them."
Bye.
Hi.
Well,
You guys Grey Poupon?
Pardon me. So Jin would say that although he's pretty sure that they know you're there, they may not know that you're you. Right. All they
but
might
it's a matter of
know.
time. It's not going to.
It's probably a matter of time. I mean, if they can get probably, and Jin hasn't detected any yet, but the next thing would be to send out microprobes, which essentially would be pinhole cameras, and take a look at you and look and see if it matches the shape and size and configuration of what they have in their memory banks as to what constitutes the gin and tonic.
Yep.
And once they have that, they'll know it's you.
So we're either leaving possibly under fire or we're going into combat with them. Either way, we need to get ready.
Yeah.
All right.
Well, how long does Jin suggest it will be before they deploy the cams? And could we move position to try to?
Well, don't
deal
move too
with-
much because we're not there yet. The slice of lime isn't.
Well,
Right, but
yeah,
no,
they
I
don't do
mean-
anything until the slice of lime arrives and offloads.
Okay.
And Captain, they've got a bunch of extra passengers that you may not have been aware that they were
Two.
bringing.
Two.
Well, 3 and some parts,
Okay, 3 in parts.
including one very large, very severed 35-pound Kazinti head, which Wagner has to, I think, Andrew, I believe last time we played, you declared that this was going to be a present for Seventide.
Possibly.
Captain, you can't be surprised by this.
I'm not.
He's at the door. Welcome aboard. Sorry, we shot you. Welcome aboard. Hope the stomach's okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. So at least several. Wagner gets a grab gurney and basically is hustling Becky. So Dr. Wagner, Becky has subsequently fallen unconscious due to shock. You filled her full of various kinds of preventatives, coagulants, and things like that. She's stable. She's not dying on the table, but she's unconscious. So, and the Kazinti's still in pieces. You haven't been able to do anything with that. All right, so you guys get there, and Jin. So, from the point of view, so right now it's the same. You guys are in the same principle, right? The Ursay ship's over here. You guys are in orbit. You've got Tewfik in between you. Bishop, you had mentioned to the captain something about moving the ship.
Well, I'm asking Jin to calculate with the scans that they're doing now. If we relocated the ship subtly, would we be able to buy ourselves more time before they'd be comfortable deploying the cameras? And how much time could we buy?
It's
What I'm trying to figure out is, do we have enough time to still go forward with the plan of trying to sabotage their ships, send them back to blow them up?
As bombs, yeah.
Or is that gone and they're going to find us now sooner than we expected, and we'll have no choice? But or maybe the better choice would be to deal with them in space and don't worry about the returning their ships to them as bombs.
Jin expects. So you guys have got about 9 hours before the vessel, on the original timeline, where the vessel expected the shuttles to return to contact with them.
Right.
Now it's detected you, but has not made any overt actions towards you. And as far as Jin can tell, it hasn't released any microdrones either. So to detect you, it may just be waiting for its guys to come back to make the next move. Because remember, the leader of the operation is in your custody right now, is on the Gin and Tonic. So they might be, this is just a mercenary operation. They might be, I mean, they're not they're probably not. Jin thinks they're probably not willing to actively engage in a space battle because they haven't been authorized to do that, and they may
Okay.
not have any guns.
Yeah. So we may still have time to sabotage their shuttles and
It's
send
possible.
those back. We've got 9 hours, and that would be the expected timeline.
Right.
So they've sensed that something else is here, us, but they don't know who we are or what that is. They just know there's another ship potentially, or there's not potentially, there's another ship on the other side of Tewfik.
Yep. In geosynchronous orbit around Tewfik.
They don't know what that ship is, and they still have 9 hours before they expect their mercenary team back.
Right.
So
The mercenary team, which includes the leader of the operation.
yeah, so that's the captain's call. If you think we still need to go forward with the idea of trying to sabotage the shuttles and send them back to disable that ship in such a way that they can't radio, or if that point at this stage is moot and we just need to get the hell out of Dodge. With the knowledge we
Well-
have so far of where everybody else is, where they think we're going, and try to go be somewhere else.
The Jin listen. I'm assuming that this is a conversation that you would share with Jin, that Jin is allowed to
Well, right,
interact
yeah.
with you. So Jin says that based on if you're talking about just escaping the system, you have to truck out to a Lagrange point, which is kind of a haul. It's about, on fusion drives, it's about another 5 hours out to the nearest Lagrange point to get into a spot where you have to get out of a gravity well, or with a cancellation of gravity wells before you can hit jump space.
Right.
It'll take 5 hours. That will give them an opportunity. Certainly, it'll give them an opportunity to see who you are, because once you come out from behind the planet, they'll be able to do visual reconnaissance and they'll know who you are. That game, I mean, it's doable, and the likelihood, I mean, you don't know what kind of ship they have, but the likelihood of them catching you on fusion drive after you guys, you could make it, but they'll know and they'll be able to radio it in.
Right. Well, they'll be able to radio in where we were.
Right.
And then it's back to the guessing game of, we have a 3 jump ship. Where would we go from here? Or we could take the chance of going back down and tinkering with their shuttles and sending the shuttles back up and trying to damage them enough that they couldn't report.
If you get the shuttles in their shuttle bay and they explode, and those fusion drives explode, that will almost certainly create explosive decompression in at least part of the ship. It depends on how well bulkheaded the ship is. So I mean, it depends. You know, it could be that there will be areas of the ship that they can forestall explosive decompression. The ship itself will try to protect itself. Okay, so the ship's AI, when these kind of things happen, the ship's AI will immediately step in to protect the crew. Now, depending on how fast things happen, the ship will auto like seal off bulkheads and that kind of stuff, especially in areas where there are sophons, right? So they're trained to do that.
Right.
So it's likely that, well, depending on how bad the explosions are, it's possible it can vent the entire atmosphere of the ship. The more likely result is that it vents part of the atmosphere and potentially traps some sophons into a pressurized area and sends out a distress call, essentially. This is essentially what happened to Palmer's house in that one system, remember? So they vented the atmosphere. Palmer told you that they were hit, you know, he was hit by a couple of missiles. And the AI, Jackie Boy, immediately went into action, got Palmer himself into a safety buoy, and then tried to seal off compartments, but the damage was too great, and so they vented all their atmosphere in. But he was able to get Palmer into a safety pod before that happened. It's just the damage was too significant. But it's a similar kind of situation.
Yeah.
But we're trying to, it's almost like a Trojan horse type situation. If we do that, we want them to take the the ships into the bay.
So they're going to be suspicious of the ship, though, if it doesn't respond, with people in it and stuff.
And once it reaches within a couple of 100 kilometers, they're going to be able to look at it visually. Look at, so we'll come back to here for a second. Look at, what do we want to look at? Look at the shuttles, how they look, right? So you've got, it's a car. It's got a ton of windows in it. So their expectation, when you get within a couple of 100 kilometers of the master ship, they're going to be able to use visual cameras to look and see if they don't see any people in those ships. And there's no communication. That might
What if
provoke a
they saw
response.
dead
Brought some
bodies?
friends with
Captain,
us up
Captain,
from the surface.
What was that, Andrew?
We brought some friends up from the surface.
Yeah,
who
if we
would
put the
probably
dead
enjoy
bodies
a
in.
car ride.
Would they
Captain?
be?
The old weekend at Bernie's?
Something like that. Or put in
I
a
like it.
highly suggestible state.
Given enough special K, they'll just sit there.
Captain?
That's true. There'll still be a lot.
Mile
Well,
of
yeah, and they
rule.
will be able to. So one can assume that they're will be able to scan these shuttles. They don't have any particularly hard shielding or anything, and look for life signs. So yeah, the weekend at Bernie's might not work. What they'll discover is there's a couple of dead people in there.
Well, they'll know it's their dead crew. They'd at least be curious enough to try to let them in.
Yeah, theoretically, yeah.
But I'm
Don,
thinking
what were you gonna say?
the doctor could anesthetize them enough. Their vitals would.
Oh, you're talking the live ones, and we're sending them to
Yeah,
the
the
death
vitals
box.
would look good.
You guys are cold.
They'd be calm. Their heart rate is 60. Must be Hannibal Lecter.
Their heart rates, even during the explosion, their heart rates never came above 45. You know, that kind of.
Yeah.
What
These
are you
people are
trying to say now?
psychopaths.
I suggest we talk to the captain.
Your
We could
captain or
deal
their
with it.
captain?
Their captain that we
Okay.
have.
Gotcha. Okay.
Make a deal with him that we let him and the other person go. They returned to their ship, promising not to radio in that we were here at all. And we let them live, they let us live. Now, the second part of that is that Wagner has not Wagner,
Bishop?
Bishop has already rigged the shuttle with enough explosives to blow everything up, but we don't tell their captain this, of course, so that the captain flies back to their ship, and once it's docked, we detonate the shuttle.
Oh.
I like it.
Man, I got a vicious crew.
I like it very much. Mallory Graves says, let's make it work.
It's a live person whom
The
they
only
know
problem- the only
flying
problem
towards
is-
their ship, saying, "Hey, let me in."
That
I
takes
mean, as
too
long
long.
as he doesn't suspect anything, we're golden.
Yeah, but that takes too long. Because I'd have to go back to the surface and rig the ships, then come back and you sweet talk these people into going down and getting in their ships and flying back to theirs. And we've got 9 hours before they're expected.
Hmm.
Well, you can get down to the surface in 4, so you've got some time.
We're gonna take them with us when we go back to the surface, talking to them on the way, saying, "Okay, here's the deal. We're gonna let you get on your shuttle and leave as long as we have your word that you won't radio in. We're gonna let you live if you let us live." We're going to be really bad at negotiations until we get on the planet. That's when you hop off and start rigging it. And that's when we get serious about negotiations and convince them of it. So they'll be on the shuttle still, not watching you.
Hmm.
That's an option.
No.
Pretty murdery.
It's very murdery.
Wait,
Well,
hold on.
if we prove nothing, it's that this crew is very, very murdery.
Very murdery. This is downright evil.
Hold on. They
Tam doesn't think of himself as murdery. Tam thinks of himself as survivally.
practical.
Yeah.
At this point, we're screwed. We are so far past the law that
Well, no, so yeah, kind of.
yes, kind of. What did
I
the last
mean-
thing we do at a civilized space station? What did we do?
Oh, you killed some
Yes.
cops.
Oh, yeah.
Well, but you also saved some cops. I mean, if there's a, there.
We patched up the cops we injured. Okay, yeah, but
But we were later vindicated when they found out that it was a setup.
Well,
did
maybe
they find that out?
nobody was there
No,
to
they
tell
said-
them that.
Right, we don't know
No,
that.
they were
They don't
after
know
what's
that.
his face? We've got him with us, right? The guy that we took. He was
Steve.
under arrest.
Yes,
Yeah.
Skeety,
Yeah, so
which he is still in the Gin Tonic. You guys still have him,
So we helped. So we helped a prisoner escape, is what we did.
kind of, yeah.
That's not vindication.
Well,
It
no,
could be.
That's help. That's aiding and abetting a felon.
they investigated him and found out that he was crooked.
Yes, and then we
That's
helped
what,
get
and
rid of
then
him.
arrested him. Yes, we then sprung him loose, but they first figured out that he was actually. on the
That's
case.
true. Yeah, I mean,
So we're still aiding and abetting a felon.
Well, they probably don't know
Well.
that yet.
They know we got him off. They know we took him off that.
they
So-
definitely know that you guys took Keith. You guys, you're on camera.
So we know Keith is a crook. We know that the GNT took Keith off the station. We know that the GNT killed several guards, injured some, patched them up afterwards, and then left, and then blew up 2 ships that we sent to stop them.
Well, disabled.
Disabled them. We disabled the
Disabled,
ships.
yeah.
And I believe only one of those guys died.
Yes.
So,
Life support did in one person, but or lack thereof.
all right. So you're
We are on the run. We are the fugitives.
well, but also,
We
well,
may
that's.
be innocent, but we're very guilty.
Oh, I don't think anybody thinks you're innocent.
You know,
Well,
I
go
think
ahead.
There's got to, what we need is a good redemption arc.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Yes. And slaughtering these guys is not going to help us on our redemption.
But didn't
These guys are mercenaries. They're not part of law at all.
And they tried
So it's
to.
okay to kill them. I get it.
Yeah, but if you think you could actually convince them of the live and let live thing, you could put them back in their shuttles, not blow the shuttles up, not blow their ship up. Just let them go back.
I do
If they're-
not think I could convince them. I think they will say that so that they can leave, but I think they would report us.
The one guy, the human guy who's dressed as a sand person, has already attempted to lie to you guys, and I believe it was Jix who sorted that out. Basically, he said, "Look, he sort of, what did he say?
Sort
It was
of
something
made
along the
this
lines."
deal.
Yeah, he sort of, well, he kind of like intimated that he would be open to that sort of deal, and Jix sussed him out and basically said, "No, he's lying." And they'll betray us at the first thing.
Surprise.
So just so you guys know, the green circle that I have done. So if you guys do opt to head to Fusion Drive out to the Lagrange point and jump, and they radio it in, essentially that green circle is where you guys is the sum total of the places that you can get to in a
Where we
week.
could get to in one jump.
Right.
Right. There's not a lot of great options here.
What's Ember?
Ember is a large Terran system in the Salamity cluster. So they are so you've got a lot of not very good options. So Cymbeline and Kaguk are warring with each other, right? So I mean you could go to Kaguk, but everybody knows you've been at Cymbeline and helping them out. So I don't know that you're going to get a warm welcome there. Ember is a Class A starport system. Basically, it's a large, heavily populated Terran system in the cluster. It's jump to from Prometheus. It's 4 jumps. It's 2 weeks travel from Terra itself. So what you can count on at Ember is a huge Terran league Tyla office. And Kiev will tell you that that first stop on his trip back to Terra, or Prometheus is where they probably were going to put him on trial, would have been Ember. There's a huge dial-up office there. Dismal and
I think we jump to Ember, then Prometheus, then Terra. They will never suspect it.
They won't suspect that. I'll guarantee it. So Loki and Dismal are colloquial names for systems run by the Affront. Potentially some safety there, but frankly, unless you can find Seventide specifically, the likelihood of you emerging from an encounter with other affronters is they shot up that one Ursay ship for fun. Right? So there's that. And then you have if you go to the northeast, you see those yellows?
Yeah.
Those are again fuel depots on the way out to that's
Jasper.
Yeah, I can't see it. Yeah, George Orr. So that's that remote colony out there, way out there. So I mean, it's kind of like, did you guys see El Camino, the Breaking Bad thing? The epilogue for Breaking Bad called El Camino, where they talk about what the. All right, so this analogy is not going to work right, but basically, the guy who was the guy from Breaking Bad's high school assistant, the young guy in Breaking Bad.
Yeah.
He went to a guy who was like a cleaner, and he basically gave him new papers and moved him to Alaska. John Jor is essentially Alaska. But it could be safe for you guys. You got to jump 3 ship, which means you can make it from Cymbeline. Well,
we can make it to the gas station and then Jar.
Yep, you can do it probably in about 2. I don't know that you can make 2 weeks work, but definitely 3 weeks. But it is John Jor is essentially the end of known space. It's Alaska. It's moving to Alaska.
Okay.
So do we go there and retire, guys?
Don't we have a bunch of cows or something on our ship?
Can I kill myself if that's what we're doing?
No, we gave those all to the Tewfik people.
Yeah.
I didn't know we unloaded them all. I thought
you did not get them all unloaded. You got about 60% of them offloaded.
Yeah. So the other question about the ship that is in space around us now.
Mm-hmm.
If the only thing is we need them to not be able to speak to anyone or chase us, what if instead of rigging their shuttles to blow up, if I have the ability to write a virus that when the shuttles go back to the ship, it infects the AI and turns off their communications and engines?
Yeah, the old Independence Day.
Well, Independence Day blew some shit up with a nuclear missile, so that doesn't count.
Well, first they did a virus, though.
Yeah. Well, that's the Independence Day, but if that's a possibility, then they wouldn't be able to rat on us. So if our position isn't known, we could go to different spots than these, in theory. And
correct.
If they couldn't chase us because their engines are down.
So basically you're thinking of putting in you're thinking of making their ship's AI sick.
Yeah.
You're talking about damaging the AI.
Giving it a cold.
Hey, Captain, another thing I want to ask, can we do some sort of bundle of information, all this stuff we've learned, and broadcast it out to each, the Kzinti, the Affront, the Earthlings, everyone?
Yeah, that's probably a good idea.
Kind of be WikiLeaks.
Yeah.
Because things have always worked out for Snowden.
Well, I did want to make sure we let Seventide know if no one else.
Right.
I also will tell you as a soldier, murder is not fun, but I'm still totally willing to just go to war with their ship and take their ship out.
And isn't Snowden the guy that's stuck in Russia? And you're going to kill yourself for having to retire in Alaska?
Yes.
Correct.
If
Oh, good
So-
God.
So Chuck, I sent you a message.
I saw it.
Keep hearing chat things go off, and I'm not seeing any chat stuff.
Yeah, no, that was for me.
That's not a fellow Jin, a fellow AI.
I understand.
But yeah, but otherwise, yeah, doable.
It's possible.
Yeah, absolutely. So so if you guys did not disable them in a way that kept so by the way, their ship is called BD-514, which is also the name of their AI, which Jin tells you. It's not so Jin will tell you that he's been doing some scanning of his own. BD-514 is the mercenary ship. Their AI is of the same name. Ship and AI are essentially one. It's a fairly rudimentary AI. It's not nearly as sophisticated as Jin, and doesn't have the same emotional depth, I guess, for lack of a better term.
So I will ask Jin what he thinks about putting a timer on the virus that just gives us time to get away without them being able to narc or follow us. But that the AI will be fine after 72 hours. Would he feel more comfortable with that?
He would be more comfortable with that. So I don't know if you want to share with them what Jin told you.
Well, Jin's concerned. Jin has concerns about hurting or harming a fellow AI. So permanently disabling the AI is against Jin's ethics because he is also an AI. And although he's superior, he still has feelings for his kin, even if they're the three-tooth retarded cousin from Arkansas.
Right.
But so this virus could be given a time limit so that it eliminates itself in 72 hours. And then there would be no permanent harm done to his kinfolk. And that might be a little more palatable.
Now, keep in mind the 72-hour window would let you guys make the jump, but you would be in jump space when the window ended.
Well,
and they would
70,
be able to, they would still be able to report.
Yeah, 72 hours was just
Okay.
a basic threw a number out there.
Gotcha.
It could be a week, it could be 2 weeks, it could be, but the idea is it's not permanent.
Right. He'd be okay with that.
So he's not, it wouldn't be a permanent disabling of a fellow AI. It would just be a temporary incapacitation that would heal itself basically without any need for anything else.
Yeah, it's sort of like it's you essentially putting in a self-destruct on it.
Right. And yes, Jin is the most ethical of all of us. But only when it comes to other AI. He doesn't give a shit about us killing people.
Yeah.
Well, when it comes to Sophons, I mean, you're his first. Obviously, the crew and complement of the Gin Tonic are his first priority. All else, when it comes, I guess from Jin's point of view, I would say when it comes to dealing with physical creatures as opposed to AI or drones, even artificial creatures, Jin defers to you guys as being the ethical standard for how to treat them, right? So his obligation is to you guys. Your obligation is to your fellow living creatures, right? So while he won't actively kill living creatures, he knows that he has, right? So he helps helps to control the ship's guns, right? So from Jin's point of view, he's already guilty of at least one killing of a Sophont, right? An intelligent, sentient creature, right? The fighter pilot that came after you guys. So he assisted in the killing of that, and so he's This is a sophisticated ship's AI, relatively comparable to his earlier state. He would be reluctant to just murder it, in this way,
Look.
especially in the case of the other ship. Like from Jin's point of view, in the case of the other ship, they were attacking you, right? So this has a tinge of self-defense to it, and his activities were ostensibly to help you protect yourselves from that attack. And so, ethically speaking, that's whiter than gray. In this case, you're talking about what you were originally talking about is essentially killing an intelligence. It's like poisoning versus a duel. You know what I mean? There's no honor in it. He would be ethically challenged about that. If that makes sense.
That makes sense. So he's okay with us disabling it a little, and then we could shoot out their engines.
Well, disabling it makes it especially with a time delay disabling it. He's not killing anybody, and it subsequently puts the safety of the other AI behind your safety, right? He's not murdering another AI, which among AIs is kind of anathema. But then again, he's got a continuum of priorities when it comes to these sorts of things. And close to the top, if not always the top, is the safety and security of the crew of the Gin Tonic.
But regardless, it sounds like we have a plan.
Well, if that's the way you want to go about it.
I don't hear a better plan other than the murderous one.
How do you want to deliver the virus? Through the shuttles?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
It'll take some time, but you think you can do it in the 5 hours you have allotted.
And at that point, I wouldn't need to be on site. I could remote access the shuttles.
You'd have,
Virus,
yeah, you could. You still have to deliver the prisoners to the shuttles.
Right.
So the slice would have
But
to
he
go
can
back
work on
down.
that while we go deliver them.
Exactly. I could work
Right.
on that.
You could do
And
it
they
remotely.
wouldn't see me working on that
Right.
while they
Right.
were taking them down and doing their dead level best to convince them that once we'll release you and let you live, if you'll let us live and not notify whomever of our position, right? That cozy deal that they're going to betray the minute they get a chance. And then
Yeah. Our points with them are, okay, if we kill you, we have to fight your crew and we might die. If we, so it doesn't, it's not a great deal for us to kill you. The best deal is for us to let you guys go. You let us go. But we can only let you go if you promise to let us go. That's what we're going to argue in a more diplomatic tone, but
Who's going to make this case to them?
Captain.
yeah, because we don't have our shyster. He's sick.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Jix is
Jake's not
sick.
here.
So
I'm
who's
not
got
a
the
good
second
shot.
best talking abilities?
Not Mallory.
I don't know. Shotgun.
You're going to let us live, right? No. Boom.
Yeah.
Okay, you're the captain now because he's dead.
Anybody else want to negotiate?
Exactly. Where did he learn to negotiate like that? I wonder.
I wonder. Do we have anything we could give them of value to pretend like we're buying them off? Because they are
Their life.
mercenaries.
Just their life.
Scotch.
Tewfik Scotch and ale.
Yeah,
Cows.
Give a little bit of Tewfik Scotch.
we've
You
got
got-
booze.
You got
some
pallets of
habit
it.
still.
Yeah, you
They're
got.
mercenaries, right? We give them something. Say, hey, we'll buy you off. We ask you to give us 1 week before you report that you found out we were here. And in exchange, here's a payment. Again, they're going to betray us. It doesn't matter. But that at least sounds more realistic than we're just letting you go.
Uh-huh.
And asking
And
you to be
Jix isn't here to defend the Scotch.
Yeah, he's going to drink it all anyway. So it doesn't matter to us.
All right, so giving them Scotch would certainly sweeten the deal and make them more amenable to agreeing with you, provided they're telling you the truth.
Which we know
Well, they
they're
are.
not.
They wouldn't lie to us.
Well, no, they're not. We
They've
don't
already
care.
tried to lie to you before.
They
So
wouldn't lie to us again. I trust them implicitly.
Now hold on.
I trust them. I trust
Mallory's,
them like I trust
Mallory's
Gato.
entering. Mallory entered the chat.
Right.
One second, please.
Mallory doesn't trust Mallory.
Point of
implicitly.
contention.
So anybody
order.
else is going to need some real currency.
All right, a couple of points.
Somebody pull Mallory aside and say, "We are lying."
We're lying. We're
No.
gonna murder them instead.
Don't tell him that. He'll act normally if he's not in on it, and that'll
Well,
be good.
So one thing they will also bring up is that you have their friend Becky. What's to be? We can't. There's like, look, we might be amenable to this deal, but we can't abandon our friend. And keep in mind, we
Doc,
lost.
Hey, Doc, we have to give everyone up, okay?
No, I'll take such good care of her. You might not even recognize her when you get back.
That's what we're worried
Not like
about.
Tiger, but that's okay.
Hold on, I'll write that down.
Yeah, I don't mind sending everybody back that way as long as they're.
She's in no shape to travel right now.
She'll be in worse shape if she stays. Let her go.
And now the reason that Dr. Wagner doesn't work on a planetary hospital is becoming increasingly clear.
Yes.
So, Dr. Wagner, you seem entrenched in your opinion about not giving up Becky.
Yeah, I don't think travel's good for her right now.
Doc, she's got to go.
Come on,
Doc,
guys. We got
she's got
leverage
to go.
here. If we keep her, then they know we're serious, and we know that they know we're serious, and they're not going to do anything because we've got
Interesting point.
Yeah, that is an interesting point.
Yeah,
We'll
but
let
I
her
Why
go.
wouldn't they do anything? We'd have a
think that-
hostage, but they'd want to get the hostage right away.
We'll
become a
let
target.
her go. We'll let her go at our first hop.
Yeah,
And I
how did
think
that work in Gaza?
More importantly,
They'll shoot her themselves.
Hasn't
Yeah.
the doctor already created a lifelong enemy of someone? Do we
Uh-huh.
want to do it again with someone
He
who's now
doesn't
half
care.
Kazunti? Let's make her half tiger and then let her go so she'll be a lifelong enemy and hunt us down until she dies.
Not a lifelong enemy. She wants to thank me and pay me for service.
The other woman you did that to wasn't like that. She wants to kill you.
No,
Yeah,
she's been hunting me down because she knows she owes me money, and my interest rate compounds daily.
Oh, wow.
I'm pretty sure her note said she wanted to kill you.
It did. It
We
did touch
said-
on that. I have to admit.
Your reading skills are subpar.
Oh.
Yeah, if we take her, we just become a bigger target for them to come after us even faster. Plus, we got nowhere to take her. We're not going anywhere we can drop her off or give her to anybody.
Yeah, space is a big place.
Yes,
We can
exactly. So we'd have to
let
dump
her
the
off
bodies
wherever we
if
want.
do.
It's like dating a homeless girl.
What you can't do is let her off like dating a homeless girl. Wow,
Yeah.
that's
Wow.
hard.
After the date's over, you can drop her off anywhere.
Ouch.
All right. So that's jump 2. Is
Oh,
the second
suddenly you
circle.
fuckers get quiet. I see how it is.
Just trying to dig up the whole dating a homeless girl thing.
Well, I gotta write that down too.
No, don't write that down. That's actually a comedian's joke.
Oh, okay. I won't. Okay.
There's a pro who does that in his stand up.
Gotcha. All right.
And I can't remember his name to give him credit, so
But it wasn't from your own personal experience. That already makes me feel better.
it wasn't from my own personal experience.
All right. So Wagner seems. So I think Dr. Wagner, you could make a pretty solid case to the idea of if you move her, she's going to die. She was grievously injured. She's got a lot of internal damage we talked about before due to the fact that you shot her with a cryogenic gun and then she thawed, which is not great for internal organs and various kinds of things. You've also, I think, you guys got to keep in mind that you're not just talking to a couple of people you met at a bar. You've killed at least 2, 3 of their friends.
Oh, we're not expecting them to stick to the deal, Les. They're going to say no. They're going to say yes because they want to stay alive. But they're going to say, wow, these guys are idiots. We just need them to believe that we're idiots long enough that they take us up on the deal to go back to the ship, and then thinking they're going to betray us.
Okay. All right.
And
that
I'm
makes
trying
sense.
to actually make it work. I'm just trying not to sound like an idiot when I talk to them and say, oh, we'll just let you go.
We'll just let you go.
I can see them going,
all right, off you go.
Why are they letting us go?
Let's not argue
deal?
and bicker about who killed who.
Right.
It's like, it reminds me of that Monty Python
That's
sketch where it's like, is there anyone else that doesn't want to walk up and down this corridor? I wouldn't. All right, off you go.
And the other thing is, they're mercenaries. They came to kill us. So we killed a couple of them. And if they want to suddenly have a high righteous horse of indignation about who killed who, you were sent to murder us.
Yep.
Again, not to be convincing.
Just business.
Yeah, but not to be convincing.
It's just business.
Just to be convincing enough that they don't see the ruse and we're just going to let you go. We're actually bringing up real stuff and negotiating real points.
We're saying it's just business. So as business, here's some money, and yeah, you can have all your injured people back. And in exchange, you give us 1 week before you report that you found us here. In reality, of course, we're going to take the ship out because we know they're not going to stick to the deal.
Right.
And you can do it also, and you say that, or we can kill all of you.
Yeah.
There is that. All right. So we've got a variety of checks that need to be made here. All right. So I think the first check is to convince these guys that you're going to let them go. And in exchange for their lives, they're going to give you a week's escape time so that they can get out. Right. And you're sweetening so that's one check. You're sweetening the deal with Scotch. But it gets worse because you're not giving over Becky. So it balances out.
I still don't understand about not giving up Becky.
Dr. Wagner is he seemed unbending on this particular point. Andrew, can I say that is accurate?
I will follow the directive of my ship's captain.
But
the doc thinks that she's not well enough to move. And that if we
can't stabilize her.
Yeah, if we try to send her back to her ship in her current condition without doctor's care, that she's not going to make it.
All right.
Then we just tell them that.
Dr. Wagner, I want you to do a deception check. Well, I guess it's really not deception. Would she die if she? So, in your medical opinion, she probably would not die putting the show. So, this is a deception check. You are trained in deception, and so I want you to make
for a doctor.
I want you to make a DC 19 check on deception. You're trained on it, so that brings it down to a 16. It's an intellect check. Your pool is down to 20, but you have edge. So if you use your edge, the 16 goes to a 13. Now you have 20. My record shows that you have 20 in your pool right now. Is that accurate?
That's what my record shows.
Okay. So you have plenty of intellect points if you want to take that 13 down even lower to convince these guys that moving Stacy will kill her.
Becky.
That's what I meant, not Stacy.
Getting her name wrong would probably not help your deception.
Stacy, that's my fault. Stacy lives in Greenport. Becky lives here.
And she's pretty messed up.
They're all named Lisa.
She's very messed up. They're all redheads.
I kind of think things are in my favor.
They are. But you can improve those odds. It's right now it's a 13 or better to convince them. And that's before any points. So if you want to burn 5 points of your 20 That will bring that down to, what did I say it was? A 13? That brings it down 5 it brings it down 6 points. 13 minus 6 is 7. So you use a 7 or better. So better than even chance of convincing these guys if you burn 5.
Do I really care if they want to take her?
It's up to you. I got the impression that you wanted to keep her. I mean, it's your call. If you want to give her up, that's fine.
Well, if the rest of the crew think she should go, then I'm just going to huff and say, it's against my advice.
To my recollection, no one has said anything about keeping or sending. It's just the guys that you guys are about to try to convince to go back and give you time have mentioned wanting to bring her back.
Send her. I am mentioning it now.
Worth ruining the deal and screwing everything up.
I am mentioning it now. Send her. Yep.
On the other side of the coin, you guys already know that they are not going to abide by the terms of the deal. Hence the virus.
Right. Hence the fact that we also don't care if we give her back to them.
So it comes back down to your call, Dr. Wagner.
And I'm guessing Mallory doesn't care if she dies in transit.
Mallory's polishing up a spoon.
That was Coffin. Hello. Mallory.
I guess this weird feeling that Coffin and Mallory knew each other at some point. Maybe separated at birth. I don't know. I'm just asking questions like Tucker Carlson.
I don't want gratuitous loss of life.
Andrew, that particular role, if you burn those points, would also serve to convince your crewmates.
It's not a hill I want to wage battle on.
You gonna give her up?
I'm just gonna roll and say, look, I don't think you should, but I think she's in horrible shape, and I still think, despite anything else, having her as a hostage is beneficial. But if you all think otherwise, then I'm just going to release her against medical advice.
When he says you all, he means you guys, not me.
Yeah, understood. So are they asking for her? Have we had the conversation?
They want to know what's to become of Becky. You guys have her. We know that she's in sickbay. We know that she was injured. We want her back. She's one of us.
So yeah, you can take responsibility for us transferring her to you. It might not be the wisest thing because she is not that stable, but we'll be happy to give her to you. You just better be ready to treat her really quick.
Can you stabilize her? I mean, will she make the voyage?
Yeah, we've done the best we can for now. But if we need to give her to you immediately, or she can stay with us, she's probably safer, but that's your call.
Dr. Wagner, you can certainly patch her up to the extent that she can make the trip.
She's in really bad shape. Like I said, I'll turn her over to you. She's your colleague. I wouldn't advise it.
So if you remember from last time, she's got a lot of internal damage from the cryo. Yep. And because basically she was frozen and thawed. And as you guys know, the reason cryogenics doesn't exist currently is because water, of which people are made up of 80%, forms sharp crystals when it freezes, and those crystals pierce a variety of interesting things inside the internal body. So when they thaw, you have a thawed person with a lot of tiny holes in them, which is basically what everything below her navel looks like, between her navel and her knees.
If they allow us to keep her, we will release her at our first jump point.
You want to try and convince her of that?
Well, we're going to give them an option. If they want her, they take her. If they're worried about her dying because the doc says, hey, she's not going to survive, we will promise that. But it's still their call.
Cocker, give me a D20. They want to take her. They don't trust you guys. Yeah, no. No, they have no confidence necessarily in you, and they still want to take her.
Yeah, let her go.
Yep.
Like I said, that's your call. Take her if you want her.
All right, they want to take her. All right,
So-
so what? All right, so now you've got two bonuses, right? You're giving the scotch and you're giving the friend. So that's 2 bones on the convince. Are you going to apply? I'm not going to tell you what the DC is, but I want to know if you apply. So who's doing the convincing? I'm assuming it's you, Captain Black.
Yeah, if nobody else has anything, I have no abilities in that area, but
You do not. Let's see. Practiced with armor. That's not really going to be a help. All right. So
I
you're
do well
basic.
with machines.
All right. So this is an intellect challenge. You have 10 points. None of which is your pool. You have not used any of them. You have no edge there, so you can't burn any of that. If you want, if you burn 5 points of your intellect, you can take another 6 off of the thing.
Okay, let's do that.
All right. So you're gonna burn 5 points of intellect. Does anybody want to aid him? Who's the second most diplomacy? Gawker, are you the second most diplomacy guy here?
I have no.
Gawker has 1 intellect left.
Oh, that's a good point. Medicine, anatomy, chemistry, perception, computer deception, seeing through deception, identification. So, Dr. Wagner, you have no real skills in diplomacy. What you do have is a shitload of intellect points. And edge in intellect. So if you wanted to aid the captain, it's a DC 10 to aid. Your edge, burning your edge brings that down to a 7 right away. If you wanted to burn some additional intellect points, and I think you have 15 left, is that accurate?
No, I didn't spend any because I didn't.
Oh, you didn't. That's right. Okay, so you got 20 or 25. I have you at 20. What do you have?
I have 20 in the pool.
20 in the pool. Okay. So if you want to spend another 5 of that 20, that'll add another 6. That makes it a 1. Essentially, if you roll anything but a 1, if you roll anything other than a 1, you help the captain. If you roll a 1, you don't help the captain. But you have to burn 5 points for that. If you only burn 3 points, you could take it down to a 3 points give you 3, so it's 1 level. So we were at 7. It'll be a 4 or better, and you will retain those other points.
The way things have been rolling, I should probably spend the 5 if
Okay.
it's critical.
You got a ton. I mean, you still, even spending the 5, you still have 15 left. So if anything bad happens, you got some back.
Okay.
All right, go ahead, give me a roll. You got to beat a 1.
I don't feel so lucky, but okay. All right, D20.
You beat a 1. All right, so you aid. So Captain Black, miraculously, Dr. Wagner, who has historically not inhabited the role of the voice of reason, comes through and basically comes in and says, look, you have to understand, this is how we got to do it, blah, 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 and aids you. So you get another level of effort. So you got plus 15 on this. So give me a D20 plus 15. You get 6 for the bonuses, 6 for the points, 3 for the aid.
Oh yeah.
Holy shnikes, 29. All right, it takes a minute. But they eventually begin, you get the impression that they see, it takes you a little bit of convincing, but they're like,
Nice.
all right, their mercenary nature takes over, and they basically say, all right, with scotch, with our friend, we can keep our traps shut for a week, for 72 hours, right? That's what you're claiming, 72 hours or a week?
Week.
I asked for a week, but we're
A week,
gonna
okay.
zap them for 72 hours. Yeah.
All right, so a week. All right, they agree. So they said, yes, we will do it. We don't know these
stage
are
1 done. Now stage 2. Can we
Well,
get the
we're taking her
virus?
down to the shuttle.
So you're taking
Has the
them,
shuttle been-
We're taking
has
them
their
down to
shuttle been
their
changed
shuttle.
already?
Becky and Bishop and Gawker. I think you're going too, aren't you? To assist
Well,
Bishop?
Right, yeah.
No,
Okay.
I was gonna be able to do this remotely.
He was doing it remote.
Oh, that's
He's doing
right.
the
They're doing it
virus. He's doing the
remotely.
virus.
All right. So you
So
got
I'm just going-
essentially
I'm just going to pilot the shuttle.
you're driving the shuttle. All right. So Gawker, if you want to, you can extend that shuttle trip about an hour to an hour and a half without
Suspicion.
igniting any suspicion. That
Right.
gives Bishop 5.5 hours to essentially write the virus, download it into the
Yeah.
shuttles,
Definitely
and
doing that.
code the thing.
Well, I
Okay.
still need to work on Becky to make sure she's stable enough to transport. How much time do you need?
I don't know
You
yet.
need him to give you time, Chuck.
I don't
Yeah,
know yet.
Chuck, you're thinking 6.5, 7 hours?
I don't know yet. You have to tell me how big a thing is this. So I'm gonna have Jin help me. He's agreed to
He has agreed to.
remotely
So-
connect with these three. With how many of the shuttles on the surface are serviceable?
Both shuttles are serviceable. Neither of them have been damaged.
So connect with both of the shuttles,
Okay.
and that's
That-
a Jin thing.
That would be a Jin and you thing. You're probably looking
Right,
at
right.
doing machine interface.
Okay, but I also have hack the impossible. So if I need to, so basically we're trying to connect those. I don't know if I get any
Right.
bonuses.
So the little shuttles have very rudimentary AI. Okay. So it's like like a
yeah,
children's
it
puppet.
should be fairly easy to hack.
Right. But you got to do it for each one. Right. So if you're
Aren't
gonna do
they
the
on
hack,
aren't they on a network?
you're tight beaming a network. So Tewfik doesn't have a network.
No, I mean the shuttles.
the
They're
shuttles-
connected to their ship by a network, right?
Not currently. They are separated from the ship. So what
Okay.
you're doing is you're essentially tight beaming a microwave information transfer from the Gin and Tonic down to the surface that hits those shuttles.
Okay.
That's how you're transferring information. So you're essentially building a network for them to talk to. Well, not for them to talk to you, for you to talk to them.
Right.
For you to pour poison in their ear. So that's not a big deal. Again, their AIs are fairly rudimentary, and they're like puppies, right? So the moment they feel a network, they're like, ooh, a network, and they jump in. So connecting to them is not even worth your time.
Okay.
And what you're doing is you're trying to, well, let me ask you, what are you trying to do? You're trying to convince them to inject a temporary virus into the AI core that will essentially disable that ship for 72 hours, a week. What? Kill?
Yes. So no, not kill. I already agreed with Jin that I won't do that. So the
Okay.
idea is to Trojan horse into them.
Okay.
A package that will, as soon as they connect with their mothership network,
Mhm.
which they'll do when they dock, or maybe before.
They'll do before. So what they'll do is when they get about an astronomical unit out, the relatively low powered communications array that's built into these shuttles will be able to contact the ship. So that's why they can't contact them now. They're too far away. And for
Right.
whatever reason, strategic reason, this ship has decided not to approach the planet and enter orbit around the planet, but has instead stayed a couple of astronomical units away from the planet. You remember that the shuttles took a long time to get there, and they had to vent atmosphere and retake atmosphere on the planet so that they had air. They ran out of air.
Yeah. Okay, so a Trojan horse that when they get back within network range will quietly upload and activate that disables the AI only for communications and engines. It doesn't affect life support. It doesn't affect anything that will kill the crew. And it doesn't affect anything that will kill the AI. Just eliminate its ability to access communications or allow communications to be accessed, as well as propulsion,
So it's a bit of a digital guillotine.
basically.
Okay. All right. All right. So that's complex. I mean, a broad spectrum. I mean, a bomb is easier to build than a scalpel, right?
Mhm.
So, in this case, that's going to be a little bit more difficult. So you're going to use, I'm assuming you're going to use Tinker and Hack the Impossible to do this. And then you are going to use computers programming to write the virus itself, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. So let's do this.
Right.
Now,
Right. The virus.
He's working on this before we even leave because Doc is gonna extend some time, right?
Right. He's Doc. You think you could buy them another hour and a half, which gives you, I think, 7.5 to 8 hours.
Well, actually, I would have been working on writing the virus while they were doing their negotiation.
Negotiations.
I would
Okay.
have started on this immediately.
All right, so let's talk about that. So this is a difficult virus. You've got Gin Help, which is helpful, and you've got program. You're trained in programming.
Mhm.
Is there anything else?
I'm trained in computers. Can I do an aid at all?
You can do an aid, absolutely. If you're trained in computers, you can. I don't see anything obvious amongst your special abilities that would allow you to do more than that. So let's do that. So you want to do the aid real quick?
So I'm gonna do the aid real quick. The aid's a flat 10 plus my training, so it's a 7.
That's correct. And if you want to burn some, well, you don't have any points to burn, do you?
I don't.
17. All right, so you get an aid. So that's another level. And you're trained, which is a level. So you're at +6. Hacker might work. You gain access to a desired bit of information in a computer or similar device. No, that's not here. You're writing the virus. So if you want to use Hack the Impossible here, you can do it.
Okay.
So
that's 2 points for how many off?
Moments worth. That'll be another 6.
Okay. So I'll spend 2 points to get that 6. So
okay.
At this point, I have 6 off with that. I have, is it 1 or 2 off with computer programming?
It's 3 off for computer programming and 3 off for the aid. So
Okay.
you're at +12.
Okay. And what's the difficulty?
It's pretty high, so you're probably going to want to burn some intellect points.
Okay, so
it's something this complicated, something this targeted. It's a DC 30.
Okay.
So you're at 12 now, which means it brings it down to an 18.
And so what
I'm wrong. It's a DC 25. Sorry.
Okay.
So you're down to 25 minus 12 is 13. You're down to 13.
Okay. And then it's, I don't remember the point thing. It's 1 for 3 and then 2 for 1 after that.
It's 3 for 3 and then 2 for 3. So your first 3 points of intellect buy you 3 points. It's even up. And then you pay 2 and you get 3.
So the first 2 points.
So if you burn 5, you get 6. If you burn 7, you get 9. Make sense?
Yeah. So if I burn 5.
Yep.
I get what?
Oh, you have edge, which I haven't factored in.
Oh, yeah, and effort.
So that takes it down to 15, which is, what were we before? 13 minus 3 is 10. So you're at 10 right now. If you
effort,
effort is where you burn points essentially.
Okay. So I'm at what now?
10 or better.
And if I spend 5 points, I get 6.
Yep. And you've got, if according to my calculations, you got 20 in your pool.
Yeah, 20. So if I go down to 15.
Okay.
Now it's at 4.
Correct.
How many more do I need to go down to make it a given?
2 points gets you 3. So another 2 points if you burn, if you pay 2 points, that takes you down to 13 pool, and that gives you it takes it down to 1.
Okay, I'll do that.
All right.
I just want to make it a given.
Okay, so it's a 1 or better. You could roll a 1 and fuck it up, but this is as good. If you want to burn more points, you can take it down to -2 and make it automatic. But you got to burn 2 points to do it. Made it. All right. You have a live virus.
Wow, nice one. Nice.
And it will behave according to your parameters, and it will deliver itself once the shuttles get into comms range.
Yeah, get in the network range.
Yep.
So
All
then
right.
the next one
is turning the shuttles into bombs. Oh wait, we're off that.
Well, not exactly, but so I've created the virus. That was what all that rolling was for.
Correct.
So now I need to upload the virus to the.
That's part of creating it. It will upload itself once the shuttles get in within communications range, which is about an astronomical unit. They will begin contacting the ship.
And
the
then
virus,
the Trojan horse will go in,
and the Trojan horse goes in,
and
it will detonate at the point you designate.
Yeah, and it'll disable the ship for a week.
That's the plan. Yeah.
Then I think I'm done. The shuttles have been set up to be the E-bombs that they were intended to be.
Nice.
Okay. All right. Gawker, you pack Dr. Wagner says she's ready to travel, and she's basically on a gravity gurney, and you guys pile all that stuff into the thing along with a couple of cases of Tewfik scotch that you guys are going to have to explain to Jix when this comes up later, and it will come up. And then Gawker, you begin flying back down to the surface, and I'll be right back. Just a second.
We just tell Jix that's what he gets for not being here.
We're gonna tell Jix that Mallory drank them.
Yeah,
because Jix is not gonna fuck with Mallory.
Yeah, that's true. Who took my scotch? Jix.
Mallory.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Mallory. Oh, okay.
Okay, that's good. Did you enjoy him, buddy?
Yeah, I hope you enjoyed it.
Or we just tell him you drank it all and you were hungover. Don't you realize you've been asleep for a week?
I still say we posted on Mallory. Jix is not going to mess with him.
I agree. We're good.
Mallory is a real sweet guy. Really, he is.
He is a really sweet guy, but he's also really lethal. So you're not going to piss him off. I'm not going to piss him off.
I'm not pissing him off.
He'll grumble every time he looks at you, but
if
he's not
the guy who stole my lunch out of the refrigerator, I hope he enjoyed lunch.
Yep.
What would you like me to order next time?
Right? Want me to make something special for you?
This damn cough, it sucks.
Oh, yeah, don't let it stick around too much. Get embedded.
My whole family is coughing. So.
I'm with you, man. I'm not coughing. I just can't get more than 6 inches away from a box of tissues.
That sucks.
You know, it doesn't suck being this close to my bar.
You don't even have to walk away.
Right? I don't even have to walk away. It's like everything is right there.
And you've got pre-mixed margaritas.
Well, martinis, which I am not indulging in because frankly, there are certain times in the glorious history of our games online where I've reviewed the tape and during which I have been drinking during the course of play, and in that last hour, sometimes I'm not as happy with my performance as I should have been.
Yeah, the last hour is
usually when we have the most fun.
Yeah, the last hour could be a little bit where I'm like, "Hey, you're back," and everybody's like, "What were you saying?"
Magic at Infest. We'd like 17 artifacts. Okay,
done. Usually it's usually when I give you the 20 questions thing is usually I've had a couple of drinks and it's like, but I'm giving you 20 questions. I can't answer any of them. And
we love those.
I know, right?
So I like doing them, frankly. We celebrated Christmas with the girls yesterday, And the drink of the day was apple cider with Fireball, and it was
Oh, my.
delicious. And this is the remainder of
cinnamon
it. So
Ooch. You know what they what they call Fireball? A small bottle of bad decisions. So I don't know if you guys know about this, if you've ever been to a convention with Don, but Don wears this huge fishing vest, this tie-dyed fishing vest with 1,000 pockets on it, and at least 4 of those pockets are filled with airline-sized bottles of every liquor known to man.
it is 7 pounds of alcohol when I go there in the morning.
That's awesome.
Nice.
We get to these things, and Don's like, he's like the liquor fairy. It's crazy. And then there one time we backed in martini fixings to a game
Cons, yep.
at one of the conventions, and so so he and I are sitting next to each other, and I'm under the table and you can hear the shaker glass kind of going, and the people at the rest of the table are like, "The f is that guy doing?" And finally, I'm like spearing olives and that kind of thing,
with little cups.
with little cups, and like, "Cheers, my good man." And they thought, they were like, "Oh God, we've really attached our wagon to some psychotics, haven't we?" You know,
We have earned a reputation because
yeah, we have.
I have sat down at tables and they're like, "You're the guy with the alcohol."
Yeah.
You're the booze fairy.
You're the booze fairy.
Let's mug him.
Welcome, Booze Fairy, to our gaming table. All right, so Gawker, you fly these guys down, and you can hear them sort of talking behind you, but they're talking sub rosa, and you're not sure what it is, and obviously, to a large extent, the conversation is obscured by the beeping and booping of the various machines that Dr. Wagner has attached to Becky to keep her alive. Dr. Wagner, are you accompanying them down to your patient down, or no? You're just letting her go.
Yeah. Parting is such sweet sorrow, but I need to take a nap and get all my skills and stuff back.
Gotcha back. All right. So those of you, so is anybody else going down with Gawker, or is Gawker the sole guy? Honestly, he's 1 against 2. That might not be great.
Yeah,
I'll go.
They also have to be bound on the way there because we don't want them getting any funny business.
Okay. All right. In the meantime, Bishop, you are busily microwave beaming the virus into the shuttles, and you're having a lot of success. I mean, the shuttles, the AIs in them are, they're like puppies, from a sophistication standpoint. They're not sophisticated. Their job is basically up and down, right? So, and don't vent the air out into space if you can possibly help it.
Right.
So yeah, no problem there. You get everything in there, and you think that that Trojan horse is going to be fine. Gawker, you get down. I'm assuming you get down to the platform, which is now cleared off, right? So the two figures have left, and the bodies are gone. The bodies of the dead. You took the Kazinti with you, but there were 2 other dead people. Those bodies have been removed. You're not sure to where. You assume that the natives took them away. But they haven't moved the shuttles, probably because they don't know how to move shuttles. What do you do? I mean, they're looking. The 2 mercenaries are looking at you expectantly, holding out their things. It's like, look, we can't drive this way.
Who's with me?
With Mallory, with Weber Jix's furry pink handcuffs on.
Okay, Mallory, you got a gun on them, right?
Yes.
We take them off the shuttle, and then I release them.
Okay. All right. They slowly. 1 week.
No,
agreed.
No word for 1 week.
Agreed.
Okay.
They each get into a separate shuttle, and both shuttles take off. Lift off the graviton fields. You can feel that sort of weird quiverly feeling that you feel when you're close proximity to a graviton field.
Do they take Becky?
They do, yeah.
Becky's...
So the Ursay takes Becky into his thing. The sand person takes. I I got to be honest with you. Every time I say sand person, I feel like I'm stepping perilously close to outright racism when it comes to this, because
It's science fiction, Les. They
which
don't
I
really-
don't want to do. So, but yeah, the other guy gets in. He's, I think, but the Ursay takes Becky, rolls the thing in. It basically dumps her, parks her into the back of the shuttle. He's remarkably gentle with her body as he moves her into there. It's obvious that he's not just tossing her in the back seat and hoping for the best. And then the shuttles lift off and head out. Gawker, as you sort of do the same with the slice of lime, you can see them heading out. And they begin moving relatively quickly as those shuttles can go, towards the thing. Slice of lime, it takes 4 hours for the slice to get back up to the Gin and Tonic. It takes a little longer than that for the shuttles to get into communications range. But Gin, you and Bishop, you and Gin have already set up to monitor sort of standard communications.
Right.
You've already planted those bugs in there. So there's no communications that you can monitor between the two shuttles. But the moment they get into range with the mothership,
Lights up.
yeah, they start communicating.
Communication lights up, right?
So a couple of things are going to happen. One, the moment that connections, those networks are made, those networks do the key lock sequence. Your virus begins porting over, and it's disguised itself as sort of routine telemetry, right? It's very sort of sub rosa, and the AI does not seem to be detecting it. Second, you get voice and video from the primary shuttle, the one that Ursay is driving. He immediately calls in and basically says, it's the assholes we're looking for. We're going to be there in 2 hours. We need to move. You got to come pick us up, and then we got to go get these guys. These are the guys we're looking for. They made a deal with us that we were going to keep our traps shut for a week, and they gave us scotch. And
they're not keeping their word.
And thought that was like so. And you guys are getting this in full 3D video on the thing. So I mean, it's like, the moment the guy's like, this is the shuttle calling BD 143. These fucking guys these are the guys we're looking for. It's like the second sentence out of his mouth. Right. So yes, they are absolutely betraying you. He's like, they killed 3 people. One guy they incinerated in an engine because they thought it's obvious he's playing this up. Right? They incinerated a guy in the engine. He was just trying to surrender, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
and,
there's 20 of them.
And Gin alerts you pretty quickly. Is like, yeah, they've started their fusion drives and they are moving towards. So they are moving. Essentially, they've come off the planet and headed for their ship. The ship has been standing back a couple of astronomical units, and now it's moving forward under fusion drive, essentially from the point of view of you guys, is from the vector. Yeah, he's going to intercept their vectors. But yeah, this guy is essentially the absolute moment that he felt like he was out of range of your recriminations, he gave you guys up. So yeah, so you are also. At this point, Gin says,
as soon as I get back on board, I'm okay with going after them and blowing that ship up.
Gin says they are an armed freighter. They have. Hold on. Where are the guns?
They don't have any.
No, they do.
They do.
Well, if they're not there,
Les, I think you should have let me design the GNT as far as armament and weapons.
Well, the GNT stays the same as what it used to be.
I know. I wish you'd have let me, pick the guns and stuff. So once a year at Archon, we do a Starfinder ship battle. and I've got a ship design that is just awesome.
Mhm.
All right, so that's no. 1 second, I'll give you an idea about the guns here in a moment.
Okie doke.
So do you remember what tier the
5. We did 5s.
you're a tier 5 ship? All right,
Here,
so
me-
it is not a tier 5 ship. It has a forward light particle beam and it has some torpedoes, which are it has some 360 torpedoes, tracking torpedoes. So it is an armed freighter, but it's not as high tier as you guys.
So we can go after it if you want.
You could go after it if you want. Basically, they're laying out. I mean, this guy is on the radio telling everything that happened.
How long
And he's
will it take us till we know that whether the viruses worked or not?
well, that's up to Bishop. Bishop's got the trigger.
Trigger it.
Well, you can't trigger until it's fully loaded, right?
Right.
Yeah,
Well,
I mean,
it loaded as soon as they got into communications range,
yeah,
and
you're talking milliseconds.
and the trigger was as soon as the package is fully delivered, go.
It should have automatically triggered, right?
Yeah.
So it triggers even though they haven't picked up the shuttles yet.
Well, as soon as the virus is
As soon as they
uploaded to
transmit
the
it.
AI,
Yeah, it's
They
a
were
burst.
supposed to drive all the way to the ship. We didn't know they were going to try to get the ship to come to them. They should have been able to go all the way and get there on their own.
Well, no, the virus was delivered via the communications package, right? So they
Right.
got into communications about halfway through the
Right, but
trip.
the
Right.
shuttle can
So
get
when
all
they
the way
did
back to
that,
where the
that's
ship
what the
was.
virus downloaded.
right. So
Right,
as,
so we didn't have to.
as
We're
soon
not
as the
abandoning
vi-
them in space.
as soon as the virus package downloads or uploads into the AI,
Right.
I would trigger it
Okay.
so they can, for the moment, talk to each other. But as soon as the package opens, as soon as the Trojan horse opens, comms and engines are down
Did you, when you say comms, I mean it's all radios,
already.
even shortwave local radio.
Yeah, all radios.
Okay. All right. So about halfway through this communicate where they're talking about, yeah, they did this, they did that, they shot Bill, they did all this stuff. All of a sudden, suddenly the communications thing, you could see the shuttles are still broadcasting,
Yeah,
but the ship is not broadcasting at all.
right.
It had already started on fusion drive. So it was moving towards the ships. Slowly, to be sure, but
Yeah.
moving towards the ships. The problem is, and you see it, Bishop, before anybody does, is that the vessel is now essentially its engines are decommissioned for a week. And that
Right.
includes everything. In about 3 days, it's going to enter the gravity well of Tewfik, and it's not going to be able to maneuver, which means it's going to become essentially an asteroid, a meteor in
Okay.
Tewfik's gravity well. It's going to crash into Tewfik because that's the direction it's going in.
Oh, we can't let it do that.
So it's physically moving towards Tewfik slowly, but it is. Now, you can hear from the shuttles. The shuttles are like pinging back and forth. It's like, why are we're not getting a response code? You know, blah, 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 blah. You know, why aren't you talking to us? What's going on? The ship is just sort of like moving slowly towards Tewfik. Again, it's going to take 3 days for that ship to hit that gravity well, but when it does, it's gonna hit that atmosphere. It's going to the shields are still up, so it's not going to damage the ship. The problem is it's not going to be able to maneuver, right? So there's a couple of things that could happen. It'll either bounce off the atmosphere, depending on how oblique the angle is, or it'll pierce the atmosphere and crash into Tewfik. Gin says it'll take him a couple of minutes to figure out those calculations based on vector.
It was 72 hours, wasn't it? We asked them to wait a week, but we put in a 72-hour virus.
No, we put in a weak virus.
You
Yep.
put it in a week? Okay. I thought that's where the 72 hours came in. Sorry.
So yeah, you've created something of a comet.
Well, wait until Jin calculates whether it will bounce off or pierce, and then we can react at that point.
It takes a couple of minutes, but Jin says basically his belief is that it will bounce off the atmosphere for the most part. The problem is that the shields on this on BD 140 154 are not great, and what's going to happen is the atmosphere will abrade a large portion of the shields off. They're not in a position to reinforce them, and so what's going to happen is they're going to lose pieces of it, and there will be some detritus that falls. He estimates that 60% of that detritus that comes off of the ship will be burned up, but there will be some impact to Tewfik. Now, they're obviously not planet killers. These are going to be on the array of meteorites. You know, pieces. He estimates based on the density of Tewfik's atmosphere and the speed of the craft and the likelihood of which pieces are going to pop off, like sensory arrays and things are going to pop off of it. He's thinking that Tewfik will probably realize between 20 and 40 individual meteorite impacts in the between 100 and 500 kilograms.
If we get between Tewfik and the ship and start firing at it and destroy it, the shrapnel will go away from Tewfik for the most part. They might still eventually hit the gravity well, but they'll be smaller pieces.
Yeah, depending on the size of the pieces, once you get below about 100 kilograms, what happens is, well, from a space side standpoint, it's usually about 1,000 kilograms. Right. What happens is the atmosphere is satisfactory enough to abrade those into nothingness. Right. Yeah, and Tewfik's atmosphere, in your favor, is quite dense. Because of the gravity on Tewfik.
The gravity's so high. Yep.
Right.
I'm okay with blowing these guys out of space because they've already broke the promise.
According to Jin's calculation, the pieces that will break through, will they hit populated zones or non-populated zones?
Well, that's the so Jin will smile and say, basically, there are no real populated zones on Tewfik, right? So overwhelmingly, they are populated. There is a very small chance that 1 to 4 individual things will hit Tewfik City, but again, it's a small chance. The bulk of these meteorites will hit the ground outside of the city, outside of population centers. Yeah.
So I'll give that report to the captain.
Okay.
And then he can make a decision what to do from there.
Captain, if you destroy, as Gawker pointed out, if you destroy the, if you go up to the ship and you destroy it, the pieces, if you could destroy it in pieces sufficiently small, they'll either burn up or bounce off. Right. The problem is the ship is essentially steaming towards the planet. Now, it's going to bounce off the atmosphere. It's already on the right angle, but it's going to shear off some of the shields and shear off some of the bulkheads. So there will be a certain amount of tonnage that is sheared off of the ship when it hits the atmosphere.
But
though that tonnage
in unpopulated areas.
Yeah.
But we can shoot it down now and probably nothing large would hit the ground.
Right.
Correct. Yeah, they'll get it. The people of Tewfik will get an interesting light show.
And we'd have the added fun of the rest of the mercenaries being stuck in a shuttle with no ship to go to.
There we go.
Well, they're still steaming towards the ship. From what you can tell.
Oh, if we pull the ship out of the air, though, they're not heading to anything.
Well, it'll take you some time to sort of maneuver in a position where you can shoot the ship. But yeah, I mean, they'll get there. Yeah, you could. Well, the reality is you'll probably get to the ship before they do.
Because the ship's just coasting at this point. Their ship.
No.
Their ship is coasting. The shuttles are still heading towards the ship, but they're slow, right? Now they're
Yep.
closing the distance pretty quickly, but the reality is Jin tells you if you guys wanted to get into gun range on this thing, you could do it before the shuttles got there.
Do that now.
And okay, yeah, I'm okay with that if the rest of the crew's okay with that.
Are we on GNT? Is our shuttle docked?
Oh yeah. Oh yes, yeah. The slice of lime's back.
Okay. I'm piloting and I'm headed to that ship.
All right, so you're coming around.
I'll,
right,
I'll
so-
talk to the captain as I'm doing it, but that's what I'm
Yeah,
doing.
yeah. Captain's on board. If there's nobody else objects, this is what's happening.
All right, so you guys are coming around the planet. All right, so I have to admit, I made this in case you guys decided. I made this map in case you guys decided to get into a starship
You
battle.
knew we would. You knew we would.
Well, this isn't really a starship battle, but check this out. This is so
It's
cool.
an unfair
cool.
starship battle.
I like
you-
this.
Can you guys see that?
The
So
planet-
that's-
yep.
That's Tewfik. Here you guys are down at the corner hiding, and then way out here is the ship BD-154. It's this fella right way up at. I put it in the corner, way up in the corner because I
Up at the
figured that-
top, right?
Yeah, that's where I thought
Oh,
that
there
they
it
would
is.
go. They go to. But yeah, I put thing. So you guys are gonna love this. Hold on a second. I gotta show you something.
Oh, shit.
Check this out.
Oh my god.
Yes,
No.
I knew it would.
Oh my god. That's incredible.
The planet turns.
The planet
So
turned.
cool. So
Oh,
cool.
very nice.
Nice work. Nice work.
Yes.
Thank you. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna pause it. Hold on, because it's
It
disconcerting.
takes up
frankly.
so much bandwidth.
Yeah, it takes a shitload of bandwidth, and it moves fast. It's like I'm like, there's no way that ship is moving that fast. That planet moving. Anyway, so this is what I set up for you guys. But since you guys are coming out, I mean, you guys come out from behind the planet essentially, and the shuttles began communicating. I mean, both shuttles are this kind of communicating. It's like, you guys got to get out of there. What are you doing? Blah, blah, blah. What's wrong? The ship has come out. They're doing something. You guys activate your guns. And it's not even a battle, right? You guys basically hove to close. The shuttles are still pretty far away. Do you guys want to destroy the shuttles as well?
No.
You're gonna just
No, I
leave
wanna
them out there.
Just send them a message on the radio that says, "Wow, you wasted no time betraying us at all."
Yeah.
I don't know what you're talking about, Gin Tonic. I am your friend.
You had a choice. You made your choice.
All right, so what are you guys gonna do? You're just gonna like laze into the.
Yep.
All
Leave
right.
into the ship. Leave the shuttle.
Ship, due to Bishop's virus, the ship is absolutely defenseless. The shields are up, but it takes you a very short time to sort of pierce those with your lasers, and very soon the ship is defenseless.
There's always a chance that another wandering merchant ship will come to Tewfik in the next day or so.
Don, the problem is they may just go back down to Tewfik if we don't shoot them out of the air.
Right.
They'll just go.
I
and
would
land
guess that they
and
absolutely will. It's got a
then
breathable
the
atmosphere, man.
Tewfiks Won't do anything to them. They'll let them leave.
Well, they're not going to kill them.
Yeah, I think we got to blow the shells out of the air too.
All right. Jin says, I want to. I've deployed some microcams, and I want to. I feel like I should let you know this. And on screen, it shows basically the ship, and the ship looks kind of like this. This is what the ship looks like. Hold on a second. I'm gonna get over there. Here we go. So the ship looks like this. Can you guys see this?
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you see that front window there?
Front window. Yep.
Yep. So
Wow.
so
Oh, shit.
so Jin says, I've deployed some micro cameras, some micro drones that we typically do. I feel like I should show you this. And he basically shows you a picture of that window. And in it, you see several people. And one of them has a big piece of white cloth when it is waving around. And the other ones, so everybody who's not having the white cloth, there are two Ursay in the thing, which you heard that there were two other Ursay. And the Ursay are like, no, no, no. And they're like, We want to talk. Let's talk. You know, that kind of thing. They're making the from 5 centuries ago. They're making the telephone signal.
Yes,
Um,
yes.
that even today's millennials don't understand. So you could see them, but they're like whipping this white flag across. You know, like it's obvious that they do not want to be destroyed. Jin's like, guns are activated, lasers are activated, the shields are down. You may do what you wish, but I felt compelled to show you that from the video that was coming in from the micro drones.
Thanks, Jen. Appreciate it.
That sounded like you've already made a
This is
decision.
war. This is war. We gave them a choice. They made their choice.
You light them up?
Light them up. And
All
the
right.
shuttles too.
Ooh, and the shuttles too. Captain
Well,
Black
they'll
has
just
made a
go
call.
back and land, and then they'll come after us. They've clearly shown that we can't trust them. So
The first several shots go into the ship. And at first it seems like nothing happens. And then suddenly you begin to see these sort of like, well, it almost looks at first as if the ship itself is convulsing. And then you begin to see very slowly pieces of the hull begin to move away from the ship. And then there is what looks to be a very on visual, it looks to be a very bright flash in the rear of the ship, which your guess is, and frankly, Captain Black, you've seen ships die, and you know that when the fusion drive and the jump drive are destroyed, there's this giant flash of X-rays and gamma rays that's only very visually brief, but you can see essentially, and it's all happening silently, right? So you're watching, it's like a silent movie. You see the back half of the ship sort of expand in a white fireball very quietly, and it looks very sedate. The front of the ship is blown forward and begins to fracture. And all of the lights that were behind those windows go out. And you can see pieces begin to expand, and it's essentially an expanding cloud of chunks of ship. Once the fusion drives detonated, and it's over very quickly. And soon, what you all see is a thing. As you begin to slew the guns towards the shuttles, and begin to move towards them, you can see the expanding cloud of debris. And you're just like, ooh, that's unfortunate, because the expanding cloud of debris is large enough and dense enough that the first shuttle, the one closest, the one with the Ursay in it, and the one with Becky in it, gets hit by the debris cloud. And you can see it just sort of like splits into pieces as it goes through. The other shuttle banks left and begins to sort of like does a full 180 and begins to run the other direction. This is the one with the sand person in it. It is outrunning the debris cloud, and the debris cloud is dispersing enough where, frankly, if it gets hit, it's not. But it is flat out going. Now, flat out going for a little shuttle is like nothing compared to what you guys are. So I mean, your automatic targeting, Gin, your lasers are targeted on this thing. Do you fire?
Yep.
You heard, Captain.
No hesitation.
Your laser turrets fire, and it has no shields. It has no defenses. The lasers, the individual laser beams are larger than the shuttle itself. And they just essentially, the battery of lasers just goes flying past it. And it looks like the beams just go past it and sort of like wipe it from the space. You do see a few glowing sort of pieces in the air, and and Jin is like, "Yeah, you guys destroyed that." But it is completely gone. The pieces of Jin is doing multiple calculations to determine whether the pieces of the expanding cloud is going to negatively impact Tewfik, and he says that Jin says that basically what you have done here is, because of the detonation of the jump drive and the fusion drive, all of the pieces are he'll say 88% of the pieces of the ship are small enough that they will burn up on contact with the atmosphere. The other 12% are large enough that they will, and on vectors that they will bounce off of the atmosphere. So there will be no negative impact to Tewfik, other than they will have an interesting meteor shower tonight.
Good. Glad they'll be okay.
But yeah, the ship is
They're our
destroyed,
friends after
as
all.
of the shuttle, as is the shuttle.
Okay.
What's your next move?
Well, we can maybe try to finish delivering the rest of the cows if you guys want.
Honestly, you totally could. I mean, you could just go back to business. These guys, due to Bishop's virus, they never had a chance to send a message. And Gin will tell you. I mean, Gin can tell whether or not there's messages being sent. And Bishop Gin assures you that, you know, the virus did exactly what it was supposed to, and there was no way they got any messages off. Even subspace, you know, to their shuttles was cut off. You saw that. So whoever it is they might have notified, they didn't get a chance to. Now that the ship is destroyed, you're essentially the only, you guys, the Gin Tonic is essentially the only starship in the system.
Okay. We think guys finish dropping off the cows so we don't have to deal with them.
Yep.
You got about another 4 or 5 days of cow deliveries that you can do. But yeah, I mean, ultimately, you guys, I'm assuming you just go right back to your geosynchronous orbit over Tewfik City.
And let the people of Tewfik know about the meteor storm they're going to see.
Okay.
The light show.
There's going to be a light show tonight. Sorry about this. All right. All right. That said, you guys are able to deliver the cows and the medicine without problems. What's your next move? Because ultimately, some of the maps that I have designed are now, what's the word I'm looking for? Irrelevant.
The last thing I remembered is I thought we were going to try to find Seven Tide.
I thought you guys were going to board their ship. So I'm just going to give you a little
boarding party idea. Oh, okay.
I'm just going to give you a little peek here. This is what I prepped for this. Can you guys see that? Is that
You don't see it yet.
I'm just seeing a black screen.
Oh, hold on. Let me do this real quick.
Give us light or zero.
I got the light on. Hold on.
Wow. Holy shit.
Oh, Les, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, thanks for ruining everything. But yeah, no, this was their ship with their crews and stuff, and I thought you guys might.
Oh wow.
Wow.
So
Holy
just fair warning, if you guys see this ship again, just don't say anything.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I'm very curious as to what you guys are going to do once you have delivered everything to the Tewfikers. So the Tewfikers, obviously, they are on your side. They are your. I mean, you got a safe haven here. Now, somebody mentioned, do you want to reach out to Seven Tide? I know that Dr. Wagner has a Kazinti head, which I have previously said would be a major gift.
It's been wrapped. There's silken ties around it.
I like that. I like the way you think, sir. So those two circles are 1 week, 2 week. You have reached out to Seven Tide, but he has not messaged back.
So hang on a second. I'm sorry. I had to step away.
That's okay.
In the battle that's now over.
Right.
Would I have had a chance to save the AI?
The AI of the opposing ship?
Yeah.
No.
Okay. Never mind.
Well, let me rephrase.
Basically, it'd be like, does Jin have enough? Is there enough open memory to house the entirety of that AI?
Yes. So Jin will also tell you that AIs have certain protocols they follow when they are in danger. Now, he hasn't checked to see if this is the case, but in the event of a massive fusion drive failure, which results in explosion, which is exactly what happened here, many AI have a protocol system that kicks in automatically, which basically says, we're dumping a copy of our. So AIs consist of two pieces, right? So there's a computer piece, right, which does computation and acts like a computer. Then there is a biological piece, which is usually in the center of the thing. It's well protected. What happens in a devastating attack is the computer piece will basically say, I'm going to make a copy of everything I know. I'm going to put it in a hard drive. I'm going to put that hard drive in a drone, and I'm going to eject it out into space as fast as I can. For the organic piece, what the organic piece does is there's essentially a similar kind of thing where the various clamps that holds the organic brain of the AI unloose, it drops into a similar drone, and it exits the ship. All of this takes place within a second or two of a fusion drive detonation. Now, the problem is that the organic piece, due to it being organic, takes longer. So what typically happens, and Jim will say what typically happens when this happens, when these kinds of things occur, and these are usually military records, is what happens, is where they're getting this information from, is the computer piece is safe. It gets jettisoned in a drone, which is small, and jettisoned it far away and fast. The organic piece takes longer to protect, and subsequently it ends up, depending on the time it takes for the fusion drive to detonate, which is usually not a long time, it usually gets caught up in the debris cloud or in the vapor cloud of the actual reactor, and is usually destroyed. Most AI can rebuild themselves with new organics from the computer piece, but there's always something missing, right? If the computer piece is. Now, Jin will tell you that he has not, based on what he has ascertained to be the captain's feelings about this, he has not done any particular scans looking for an AI jettison of either type. Now, here's the thing. Those AI jettisons are usually heavily shielded. We would have to be quite close, which would mean if you want to Jin will estimate that he will estimate that 92% chance that the computer-based part of BD-154 survived the impact and is jettisoned into space. He would suggest that there is a more like a 28% chance, based on the debris field and what happened to the ship, that the organic piece has survived, although it's possible. What he has not done is done any scans. Because of the size and shielding that these things do, essentially you have to be within a couple of 1,000 kilometers to be able to detect these things, because they are stealth, right? Their containment vessels are purposefully stealth, because if something has come here and destroyed the ship, they want to escape, right? So they are purposefully stealth. To find, if it exists, to find the AI dump cores would probably take several days of going, essentially of the Gin Tonic going back and forth, looking
we've got
specific.
Like 4 or 5 days anyway, as we're finishing dropping off the.
But that's with us dropping off cattle. If we're dropping off cattle as we're searching for this, that's going to drop off the cattle a lot longer.
I'll be
The
right back.
shuttle's got to travel a lot
while
farther.
the slice of lime is going back and forth, the G&T can be doing a quick search and come back.
Yeah, but the slice of lime has to travel farther to get to the G&T, because the G&T is traveling all around.
No, the G&T can always go back to the same spot.
Yeah.
We go out.
So you're saying jump over to where we were, get the slice of lime, go back and do some searching.
Yeah, the slice line goes down. It takes 4 hours. So
It
the
works,
GMP has 4 hours or whatever, 8
Well,
hours
8, because
really,
it's got to go 4 hours down, 4
Yeah.
hours back. So
Has
you've got
8
8 hours
hours
to do some searching.
to go do a scan and then go back to its original location.
It's not a guarantee, but it's at least something we could be doing.
We
It's
could, yeah,
something.
it's something to do. Yep.
So I would suggest, based on Jin's opinion, that we try to find the dump cores for that AI.
Yep. I like that
I'm
idea.
okay with that. We're not completely horrible people. We'll try to save an AI.
Hey, they
So
took the bait and betrayed us.
So the idea is,
Yeah, the AI did not betray us. The humans
if
did.
we
or
load
the-
up, if we
the-
load
the,
up the
biologicals did.
if we load up the slice of lime with cargo and send it down, we have 8 hours before the slice of lime is going to be back to that location.
Correct.
So in that 8 hours, the Gin and Tonic is going to go and start a grid search looking for the dump cores for the AI to try to salvage it.
Okay. Is that what you guys want to do?
And we're going to do that over and over again until we
Yeah.
dump all the cargo and or find the AI.
Well, because we know where the ship blew up.
Right.
So we know where the general area they should be. It's not a grid search in all
Yeah,
of
you don't have to.
space.
Yeah,
It's
he's
a-
absolutely
right.
right.
It's a grid search in a small area.
Yeah.
Jin was fairly specific about not wanting to destroy this AI, not wanting to kill a fellow. So I think it's probably important to try to salvage that.
And we can instantly ignore any debris too small to house it.
Yeah, the size of the dump core, the computer dump core is about the size of a medium-sized drone. You're looking at something that's maybe a meter long, and maybe a half a meter wide, something like that. So you can imagine in deep space how small that kind of thing is. There's
Right.
definitely damage in the debris field that's bigger than that.
Right.
So it's going to be difficult. The organic cores are generally smaller. So you're talking about something that maybe half a meter by a half a meter and incredibly shielded.
So,
but the likelihood is that, I mean, basically he said there's a 20%, there's a 28% chance that it has survived. The organic core. There's a 92% chance that the computer core has survived. And it's bigger. So he's saying, so Jin is saying, look, we can, I appreciate what you want to do, and I am on board with you. The reality is we should look for the computer core because we can always rebuild the organic core.
right. But we can do that and still do the offload.
Good night, Dr. Wagner.
Good night, Andrew.
Good night.
Thanks, man.
See ya.
See you, brother.
We can do that while still doing the cargo offload.
Yeah, absolutely. It's largely a scanning issue. I mean, it's not like you have to. I mean, the physical element is to try and get proxemic to the small piece,
right?
And because it's trying to hide, right? It's designed to try to hide.
So let's do that.
Okay,
see if we can find it. Because we're going to spend a week here offloading. Even if we add a day or two to that while trying to search for the AI, it seems like it'd be worthwhile.
Yeah, you guys think? I mean, you guys are pretty sure that these guys did not get a message out. Nobody knows you're here yet.
Right, their comms didn't work.
No, your virus saw to that.
And we've got to wait for the in between each shipment of cows anyway. So
yeah,
it's 4 hours down, 4 hours. An hour to offload and 4 hours back. So yeah, it's really a 9 to 10 hour kind of thing. So
right.
Okay. You guys do this for a couple of days, right? You're getting to the last probably 10% of the cargo that you're moving down there. some of you are spending time down on the surface with the Tewfikers. Obviously, you have an affinity for them, and everything's proceeding apace. When Jin, on one of his passes, as he goes through, says, "I think I may have found something of interest. I suspect it might be the computer core." And he plays for you essentially a beacon notice that is coming out from that, and basically what he plays for you is a, well, it comes off, Bishop, it comes off as a series of obviously sort of computerized things, but when he digitizes it and brings it and makes it audio, it's basically like, "My name is BD154. I am an AI for BD154. I'm grievously injured. I am seeking assistance. Please help me. My name is BD154. My ship is BD154. I'm grievously injured. I'm seeking assistance." And it's pinging away on sort of low band coded messages. Jin's like, the code is not very sophisticated. I was able to easily think, but it's something, he's found something that's pinging away, and he's nailed it. It's a small piece of what looks largely like debris and might otherwise be considered debris, but it is pinging this message, which he was able to determine.
So
you guys are within about 10,000 kilometers of it.
So what's the process for trying to retrieve that?
Well, first we have to correct it. His ship was that.
Yeah, pedantry is important.
That did no.
No, basically,
I know,
he's like something of this mass. Jin says, "Something of this mass. I send out a drone and pick it up and drag it back into our cargo hold."
Then
Yeah.
please do that.
All right, you can, he's like, "Done," and you can actually track. There's like a drone. It's about the size of a beach ball. It's basically festooned with little grabbers on it. It shoots out there. It takes a couple hours, grabs onto this thing, just drags it back. There's no, basically pulls it out of its vector and drags it back. Within 2 or 3 hours, you guys have it in the hold.
Is this the computer core?
It's the computer core. Yeah, definitely. As far as Jin can tell, based on the grid coordinates that he's been doing, the tracks you guys have been looking at, his suspicion is that the biological core died in the explosion.
It didn't make it.
It's possible it did, but he's already rendered down his 28% survival percentage to something along the lines of 17%.
And we don't need it because we can rebuild it.
It can be rebuilt. Yeah, I mean, you can always overlay honestly, computer memory is harder to rebuild than organic memory. The organic memory of an AI is basically gives it sort of reaction time, and it serves as, in many cases, the source of the ethical and moral considerations. The idea of AIs having duty is sourced in the organic core. It's not, computers don't understand ethics. Hence the need for an organic core. So, but yes, that can be reimplanted.
Okay.
It's much easier to do than the. It's easier to build a brain than it is to replace a hard drive.
Cool.
All right, so you've got it. Jin's like, "I hope you are not asking me to inculcate this AI into my own."
No.
What I can do is he's like, what I can do is I can speak to it. But I have not yet spoken to it, because I'm waiting for your instructions.
At this point, I don't even know if you need to speak to it. You thought it was important that we not destroy it. And while our plan did not go exactly as we hoped, and that became somewhat necessary, it is now saved. So it's not destroyed.
It is.
Tewfik doesn't have any spaceships, but do they have any equipment that might use this?
No, they don't have computers. They don't have.
Yeah.
I mean, they don't have guns. Yeah,
that's
so
true. That's true.
yeah, so Jin says something to you, Bishop, that you find curious. He says, "No, I have not spoken to my little brother, and I won't until I have been given instructions to do so. It is enough that my little brother is safe."
Okay.
Okay, I've got another thing. Jin isn't really a part of the slice of lime. He can communicate with it, he can control it, but the slice of lime doesn't really have an AI.
Slice of Lime does not have an AI. Jin absolutely can communicate with it. Jin can take it over. It's more along the lines of, imagine Jin as a puppeteer and the Slice of Lime as a marionette.
Is a
Right?
I
marionette,
think
right?
what he's asking is, could we install that AI on the slice of lime?
That's what I'm starting to think.
Yes, theoretically. Um, Realistically, the Slice of Lime is a
I don't know if we
much,
need to,
much
though, right?
smaller ship. I mean, yes,
Than that other one
you
was.
could.
Okay.
Yeah. So
But there wouldn't be any
BD
benefit.
BD 154 was a 300-ton freighter. It was essentially a ship the size of the Gin and Tonic, maybe even a little bit bigger. The
Bigger.
problem,
It was bigger.
yeah, the reality is that their AI just wasn't as sophisticated as yours for a couple of reasons. One, Jin was always more even at the start, Jin was a more sophisticated AI than your freighter might have warranted. Second, now it's had enhancements done to it that Bishop did. One of us for guns, but obviously, it is a more sophisticated AI.
Yeah.
A lot of ships don't need that sophisticated AI. You run the engines, you run life support, you man the guns, and that's all you need, right? Jin
Yep.
is a different sort of AI. Jin is a personality in itself.
I think we sell it or give it to someone or whatever. I don't think it needs to be on the shuttle either.
Okay.
The point
All
is,
right.
right now, it's saved.
Yep.
That's what Jin
That's all we
wanted.
wanted to
That's what
check
Jin
into,
wanted. Yeah. And Jin to Bishop, I don't know if I made it clear, but Jin refers to it as little brother.
Yeah. No,
Which
you made it clear. I
it
got
was
that.
never done before. Okay.
I got that and I assume that AIs all consider themselves family. They are a species. It's like saying humans.
It kind of is, and it kind of
Yeah.
isn't, right? So you have to think about AI from the point of view of its history, right? So historically, the original ship AIs were combat AIs, right?
Yeah.
These were computer systems that were designed to enhance a Sophon's ability to deliver the package, right?
Right.
And so they were combat focused, and so they were very much antagonistic to each other. But now you have, 300, 400 years later, you have AIs that, I mean, remember your former employer, the drone, right? Who is an AI technically, but a businessman. It had citizenship in the Sirius system. It ran a business, that kind of thing. AIs are much more sophisticated now, and not only that, but they are much more what's the word I'm looking for? Nuanced, I guess, is a pale comparison. But AIs are not in the time that we're looking for, are not just computer accentuated combat or tactical studies, that kind of thing. It's very much, and they have this sort of, and frankly, like any co-species, they have a sort of weird affinity. They're not above fighting with each other. They certainly do it all the time.
Yeah.
But in certain cases, there's a certain instinct there. Like any intelligent creature, they recognize their own.
Cool.
And that's really what an AI is. It's an intelligent creature. And the AI we have now are not intelligent creatures. They're mimics. But at some point we will have a purely a raw computerized intelligence that will recognize other computerized intelligence. And that's what we have here.
And then all of us die.
Well, not necessarily. I mean, there's the first law of robotics, and it might be in the AI's best interest to keep us alive, right? I mean, ultimately, we have certain qualities that they do not have and cannot have. Now, we may seem inferior creatures to a lot of computerized systems, but the reality is we have things they don't.
And then in that case, we become the Matrix.
Like they turn us into batteries. So I've always had a problem with the Matrix in that there's a lot better ways to get energy than batterying humans. The Matrix is correct in the sense that humans can function theoretically as chemical batteries. On the other hand, chemical batteries are the least efficient, worst performing, and shittiest batteries that exist. There are a lot better batteries that exist than what we would be able to produce, right? The Matrix AI could just basically populate the entire surface of the Earth with wind farms and generate so much more energy than what they get from us. It would be like, why wouldn't they do that? They don't need food, right? Why would they keep us?
I think they get us for creative thought.
I don't think that's a real thing.
It was just a comic book, Les.
Yeah.
Oh God, fine. It's a comic book.
That and wind farms need a lot of other shit.
Well, yeah, that's true. But if you're an AI, you just build that shit. Solar panels. Maybe it's solar panels. I mean, I read a study that if you took, and admittedly, it's a huge amount of space, but it's like 100 square miles of Arizona and built it entirely of solar panels, you could power the entire United States easily with that level of solar panel development. And I'm like, why don't we? And they're like, well, because we don't obviously have that many solar panels, and we have fossil fuels, and
we have fossil fuels. Why would we want to do anything else?
It's very complicated, and there's a lot of money being changed hands.
Yeah, and the shit that you need to build solar panels.
Well, yes, but that's not as bad as it used to be. They used to build solar panels out of shit that poisoned the earth. Now solar panels are not nearly as poisonous, and they're a lot cheaper. And we don't have to necessarily get all the components from China. And frankly, I'm not a huge fan of China.
Or lithium mines, or
exactly. Didn't they
mines,
just find a huge lithium mine in like southern Canada? It was like a massive, like maybe the biggest one on Earth. That kind of thing.
Know. I've seen pictures of those mines, and the Earth is devastated.
Of course, yeah, but I mean, is it more or less devastated than what Saudi Arabia does?
Then pumping oil out of it?
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or strip mining coal, if you're into that. I mean, we have here in Southern Illinois, we have a fair amount of dead coal mines that well, they're good for throwing bodies into. I'll tell you that.
That's all it is. That's all it is. Lithium mines are just strip mines, and they haven't regulated the what to do after you're done getting all the lithium out.
Well,
now it's non-profitable, but if they spent effort to level it up and kind of put it back the way it was, it could be done. It's just not profitable.
Well, right. I mean, it's the same thing for strip coal mines. I mean,
right. That's what I mean.
If you look in Northwest Kentucky, which is essentially the same as Southeast Illinois, from a coal standpoint. I mean, that's how they dig the coal out. I mean, they basically take a mountain and they saw it off. They dump it over to the side, and they pull out all the coal.
Sift through it.
Then they dig the next level. They dump that over the side. I get it. I mean, mining is troubling from an environmental standpoint, but. And to Chuck's point, I think there is a balance, right? There are certain places that we're like, all right, we're going to tolerate a fair amount of environmental damage here because we're getting a massive amount of value out of it. But that value, I mean, it's like that value is concentrated in the hands of a few people. It's not benefiting everybody who is penalized by the environmental damage. And I mean, it's like frankly, it's why we don't dig coal in Southern Illinois anymore, because we would burn coal. The sulfur from the coal would go up in the air. It would float across the country, and it would rain down in the form of acid rain, of sulfuric acid, essentially, into forests in Pennsylvania, and it was ruining their shit. And that's why we don't burn coal in America, in Illinois anymore. And I can't say I blame them.
Can I ask, when you guys finish solving this, can you let me know what the answer is? I'll let you continue the conversation, but just get back to me when you have the answer.
Hey, it's
okay?
11
Well-
o'clock.
Well, the answer is there is no answer. I mean, you've got the demands of a technological society for energy against the problems associated with generating that energy. I mean, until we
don't have a perfect solution yet.
there is a good solution, but we can't do it yet, and that's a Dyson cloud. Do you guys know what a Dyson cloud is?
Yeah.
All right, so it's like a Dyson
But
sphere, but it's something
Yeah.
more realistic. Essentially, it's basically you throw a bunch of satellites up into orbit, and it catches sun rays, essentially solar power, and tight beams that energy down to receptacle plants down on Earth, and you use it that way. Ideally, a Dyson sphere is essentially a
Covers the whole
ball
thing.
that goes around a star and captures every bit of the energy generated by that star, and it translates it into.
But then all of your plants now need artificial lighting to survive because they'll all die.
Yeah, but you have more than enough. Yeah, but you have more than enough energy to do that. That's why for our solar system, a Dyson cloud is the same, because essentially you're putting essentially. I keep saying essentially a lot, but
A Dyson cloud is much more feasible because you're circling a planet rather than a star at a orbital distance of the Earth. We don't have enough material. You know how much material you would need to make a Dyson sphere?
Oh yeah, it would be the material. I mean, it would be, you would strip every planet in a solar system for
more than that.
for metals. Yeah. But yeah, a Dyson cloud. I mean, I would disagree with Don in that you don't put the Dyson cloud around the planet; you put it around the star. Right, so it's basically a bunch of scattered satellites that surround the star. All of them are sucking in energy, and all of them
And
are
tight
tight
beaming.
beaming that energy down to the receptacle planet. It works. The physics are right, but the reality of building one of those things is it's a millennium job.
Yeah.
It would take
All right. Well, you guys have a lovely
centuries.
night.
All right, you too, bud. Congrats. Have a good one. Are you working
Good
this
night,
week or
everybody.
no?
Yeah, I'll be working this week, but I'm not available the next 2 Sundays though.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll send you information if you're interested in playing New Year's Eve or in the middle of next week, and I'll keep you posted.
All right.
All right, guys.
Bye, guys.
Good night.
Night, guys.
Good night. Thank you. Good night.
Good night, you guys. Thanks again.
Thank you.
This was awesome. Eric, thank you.
Thank you. Good
Talk
night.
soon, buddy.